All right. Welcome back, True Seeker. Long night. That debate was absolutely terrible because everybody on there was disingenuous. I thought it would be a better performance by Andrew. I thought he would do some better research and have some better arguments rather than trying to cherry pick some things from 11 years ago that he didn't even have quite right that I got wrong, skipping over more than a decade's worth of unprecedented predictions that really are groundbreaking. Anyhow, I want to say thank you to the people who did send in super chats. I want to read those super chats, acknowledge those. If you didn't watch the live stream, there's no need to watch it. It was so poorly done. It was so poorly moderated. I didn't even get to give my closing remarks. And then I was just hanging it out until the end. I don't know why it went on so long. She told me it wasn't even going to go 6 hours tonight, which she said is her normal thing. And then it went longer than ever. But yeah, I was just patiently waiting to get some kind of closing remarks. And then she just wrapped up the whole stream. So anyhow, I stayed up too late. So I just stayed up all through the night, got my work done. And before I wrap it up for now, I wanted to say thank you to the super chatters. And also just call out these fake Christians online. God, they're just so rampant. I'm like, how does anyone believe that these people are Christian? Jimbob claims to be Christian. Not anything Christian in his character. Same with Andrew Wilson tonight. I would say these are evil human beings, just nasty spirits, disingenuous people. I mean, Andrew Wilson started attacking my hairline tonight. It's like, okay, buddy. Pretty sure you're going to be 6 feet under long before me, the way you're sucking down your cancer sticks. And for the record, I mean, my hairline's been like this since forever. But anyhow, let's say thank you to the super chatters and read what some of the commenters have to say. Thank you, Maui Gomes, who said OP. Not exactly sure what that means. But thank you. John Mendoza said, Zach, the way this knowledge has helped me is not by betting, but I am no longer attached to any stars mentally or financially. I used to be the biggest Brady fan, so thank you for opening my eyes. And again, that is the power of the knowledge. It takes you away from the matrix that really is sucking your time and energy. Sports, politics, news. And hopefully, beyond that, it helps people see why there is this system that needs to be stopped in its tracks. That's only going to happen if enough people wake up to what is going on. Gematria said, let's see what LeBron James does tomorrow on his 58th day of his age. Los Angeles Lakers equals 58. So today'd be 57 days after his birthday or his 58th day of his age. That's February 25th. Of course, he's got that December 30th birthday. Los Angeles Lakers does equal 58, as does Freemasonry. Again, they call him King James. He did die at age 58. If you saw the debate tonight, my opponent tried to argue that he'd never heard that anybody called LeBron King James. And then he did a quick Google search. He goes, it looks like people call him the L train and the Akron Hammer just as much. And everyone's like, he's pretty well known as King James. People called him the L train and Akron Hammer. That might be the people back in Akron when he was growing up. But just completely unbelievable poor performance by Andrew Wilson, who showed that he relatively had zero understanding of the Bible, didn't seem to know anything really about the New Testament. And then the King James thing was like, wow, how out of touch with culture are you? He didn't know how to spell Kobe Bryant. He thought it was spelled with a C and didn't know how to spell Bryant. I mean, it was just like, has this guy been living under a rock his whole life? I mean, my God, where do these people come from? Gematria said R.I.P. James Gandolfini at age 51, The Sopranos 51. We saw what they just did to Irv Gotti, who just died in a major 51 ritual on the Pope's 51st day of his age. Hey, let's not forget, The Sopranos came out in 99. Sopranos equates to 99 in Gematria, and Tony Soprano died 99 days after we got the first Jesuit Pope, and he died in Italy, the land of the mob. Gematria Sense also said Cleveland Guardians owner dead at 94. Yeah, we covered that one today. Guardians does equal 94. That number's played very hard with the Guardians since they changed their name. He died on February 23rd, like 223, the 48th prime, when both Cleveland and Larry Dolan equal 48. Don't forget that Donald Trump equals 48 with all the parallels he has going with Cleveland. Remember, the night before the election, Cleveland got off to their best start in, was it 48 years, starting 8-0. And again, Grover Cleveland equals 80 the night before the election. 9P said, open up the effing panel to Gematria. Again, she did the same thing. She led on her same groups or her same clique, which is like a group of trolls. So yeah, again, over there, it's not about a fair conversation. It's about, doing what's going to bring in the most money for their channel, which is very evident after the second debate. And there will not be any more debates on that channel. I would like to debate these people on a fairly moderated channel where they're not allowed to interrupt. And again, if I say anything, then that's when she gets upset and scolds and mutes the mic. It's just, yeah, it's a joke. But Mason said, these people are beyond childish and dishonest. Yeah, incredibly so. Oscar Garcia said, Sarah putting lip gloss on to kiss Andrew and rim job on the exit tunnel. Andrew is a puppet getting his wiener pulled by the whole panel. Pretty much. Isaac Clark said, Zach, point out that their chat is subscribers mode only and we can't join the panel. They are grifters. We can't even comment without paying. And the thing she didn't do this time was drop the link in the private chat so that I could put it on my channel. And I don't think that was an accident. I did see a number of people from this community go to her channel and drop super chats there. To me, it's just, you guys can do whatever you want, but it's like, why are you giving the opposition your money? 9-piece. No other Gematria people on panel biased. 9-piece. Mega guy is a goober. Yeah, that's CT. He is a total goober. John Mendoza. Zach is the only man on this panel. Well, thank you. Thank you again, John. Young J216 said Andrew knows math, data, statistics when talking to liberal airheads on whatever podcast, but can't connect dates, time, mathematics to current and historical events. You're not good at playing dumb. It was hard to say what he was doing. I mean, how many times did I have to say the same thing over about Robert Kennedy's speech that entered him into the race? And then he was trying to make the argument, how do you know, like, there wasn't some other date where he had some conversation about getting into the race? And then if we measured from that day, it would screw up what you're saying. It's like, well, what's going to go down in the historical record is he officially entered the race when he gave his speech for why he was running, which is exactly what it shows everywhere you look up his campaign for federal office. If you guys missed the debate, I mean, he stayed on that point for so long. It was just ridiculous. And had to keep asking the same question over and over. It's like, I don't know what kind of tactics these are, but they're totally disingenuous and just pathetic. I mean, frankly, I've seen him do better in debates, but him and Jimbob were just at bottom of the barrel in the way that they tried to debate yours truly. 9-piece said Trump equals 47, and I did explain that to him, and they just seemed to gloss over and shrug it off like it meant nothing. Explain how Gematria isn't real. Y'all slow. And again, like I always say, the only people who don't get this knowledge, and it is a high percentage of people, it's people who are dumb. And that's what this world is full of. Very dumb people. 13 Serpents. Good to see you around, 13 Serpents. They said, the blind, deaf, and dumb have inherited the earth. Let's go, Bill Gates. And I know exactly where you're coming from with that, 13 Serpents. Yeah, again, you look at these people and you think the Georgia Guidestones cannot be fulfilled quickly enough. Maka, if I'm saying that right, maybe Maka, says it's easy to point out dates of interest on the calendars based on numeric patterns, and it happens consistently. Next kill date is March 16th, 2025. Again, there's a lot of things I would have liked to have talked about tonight, but Andrew eats up time by having you go, so April 19th was what again? Wait, that was the day What if he had a conversation with somebody else about that's when he really decided to get in the race? It's just like, Jesus, dude. I mean, God, I mean, the what? Yeah, let's debate the what if. We're not debating what if, we're debating what is. It just, again, just mind-numbingly bad tactics from Andrew. And again, his groupies or something else too. A young man, this is Damian Sims, a young man wearing nothing but a linen garment was following Jesus. When they seized him, he fled naked, leaving his garment behind. Yeah, that is in Mark. It is a very strange verse in the Bible. Part of me thinks the Catholic Church put it in there to justify the pedophilia that is rampant within. And you know, Andrew, if you watch his other debates, like he'll just derail certain debates. Like he'll be debating a libertarian, and then he'll make the whole debate about, well, what's libertarians say about brothers having sex with their sisters? And he'll just try to make the whole debate about that. It's like, okay, that's not really a focus of most libertarians. And people get stuck on those things. But if I was libertarian, I'd be like, listen, personally, I don't think brothers should be having sex with their sisters. But libertarian is about freedom. And ultimately, if that's what people want to do with their life and that is their choice, I guess so be it. But again, this is what he tries to do. He just tries to like come up with these weird things and just get stuck on them and eat up time. It's like about why not just have an honest conversation? There's a lot of information I could share with you and artifacts. And if you can debunk them all and say why each of them's stupid, then that's you winning the debate in that way. But instead, he tries to like just make it so that you like get stuck in the mud and you just sit there with your tires spinning on trying to explain to him how April 19th was the day that RFK Jr. gave his first speech to run for president. Anyway, Benito Cavedo says, Zach, just show them the gematria calculator and type the words live. The thing is, I don't have control of the screen. And again, a proper moderator would offer to do those types of things. So I was trying to explain. And again, my plan was to just stick to mini 666 examples. But Andrew was as quickly as possible trying to pull away from that subject matter. Which, again, as a Christian, you think this would be something important to know. Here was wisdom, how to count the number of the beast. 863 said, Andrew and Jimbob are great examples of Christians. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're mocking. And truly, I mean, they really are. They're really fine examples, just condescending, dishonest, wicked, bitter men. Bitcoin by Zakar said, Andrew lacks basic understanding and appreciation of gematria. You don't disprove gematria because Zach can't predict an event to your liking. And again, we don't need to predict any more events to show the worth of forecasting with the knowledge. Like I continue to say to those people, listen, you can watch recent videos put out on the channel of accurate predictions. I directed them where to go. Somebody left a comment along the lines of a prediction is not true until it has happened and you're looking back at it. And Andrew's like, somebody left him that super time. He's like, exactly right. And I was like, yeah, okay. So you don't see how that exactly factors in with what I'm saying to you about how you can go back and revisit content that still exists of dead-on predictions, like what we said the night of the Grammys about what was going to happen in the world of hip-hop with very likely a hip-hop death the next day on the 34th day of the year, as we explained on the 33rd day, which came true. And then all the other things that unfolded this month in the world of hip-hop after a hip-hop artist won top honors at the 67th Grammys, when we know specifically what that number means in terms of ritualistic death within the entertainment industry. Tara Jackson said, I want to hear how it works. Well, hopefully you were able to hear something tonight, Tara. But again, it was very hard with the constant derailing of having a good interaction and a back and forth. You know, Daria Gematria Nerd said 104th NFL season was about Taylor Swift. Taylor Allison Swift equals 104. Absolutely. And Swift alone equals 58, like the 104th season ended with Super Bowl 58. And don't forget, when Mahomes first became a starter, the Kansas City Royals, the other pro sports team in Kansas City, they went 58 and 104 that year, reminding that Mahomes' father was a pro athlete who played baseball. Darkness is 10 said people that don't think about these things don't see this. That's why my boy Andrew should stick to giving whores advice. Read the headlines. Again, that's if Andrew's ever won a debate, it's probably beating up on the OnlyFans girls that he likes to challenge. 20-year-old girls. And then even then, is he really winning the debate? Moonrock, Rabbi Jeffrey Dennis, Encyclopedia, Gematria, Complex Hermeneutic Technique. You think Jimbob would like that because he refers to, he's always talking about hermeneutics. A complex hermeneutic technique in which numbers are used to reveal messages in text, not divination. Daria Gematria nerd, Joe Biden got 81 million votes. President Biden equals 81. Absolutely. And they did just sync up the whole Super Bowl with his Philadelphia Eagles. That Super Bowl was 81 days after his birthday. Biden equals 34. They were up 34-0 at one point. Again, he won the 59th presidential election. His team wins Super Bowl 59. Aiden said, Sarah, do your job and stop being biased. Thanks. Well, again, she did go on about her job as she can be as biased as she likes on her channel. Space Invader said, this guy is drunk. Booze and cigarettes have rotted his brain, seemingly. Damian Sims said, Andrew is what happens when they give you wine at church for some offerings. Batty Min. Chris Serrato said 1863, 1963, and potentially 2063. That's a prediction. What 100-year pattern you see here? Do your research on some history and see what could happen. Again, those are the elections of Lincoln and Kennedy, and they led to assassinations. You could also say they led to wars, the Civil War and Vietnam. Another drunk clown and the CUNT moderator. Darkness is 10 said, Andrew, my boy, my dog, stick to giving whores advice. Are these the same super chats that you guys already gave? Did I not read these? Hold on. Did I already read these? Jared Jaguar said, Michael Jordan once said, Andrew, stop it. Get some help. Mason said, Zach won this debate, and I'm saying this as an Orthodox Christian. Andrew was completely within the framework of bad faith. Yeah, unfortunately, most of Andrew's groupies don't see it that way. They just cheer this man on. And that's probably part of the reason he has such a big head and thinks he can just do whatever in debates at this point and declare himself the winner. But no, it was definitely not a win. It was an exercise in ignorance. Chris Serrato said 201 is a North Jersey area code, and yes, there's a Jesuit University, St. Peter's. Get mad, Andrew. That's relevant. That came up in the debate. He was trying to make it seem stupid that I was pointing out the significance of the 201 area code in light of the Jesuits, in light of the university that's there, in light of the numerous pharmaceutical companies that are located in that area code, in light of the Event 201 simulation put on by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab. The thing that I find amazing is you give this list of 201 artifacts with the Jesuits, including the first Jesuit Pope, who's the first to live in Suite 201, who, by the way, right now is dying from an illness that has been described in terms that has a gematria value of 201. Just in case you guys missed this, Pope Francis, They say that he has a polymicrobial respiratory tract infection. And look at the base ciphers, 201 and 231, just like Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits. But of course, Jorge Mario Bergoglio equates to 201, Catholic Pope 201, the Jesuit Order 201, the million things we've talked about with Pope Francis in 201, including the many people who've died 201 days from his birthday, clearly in connection to him, including Joe Biden's son, Beau Biden, who died at age 46 before Joe Biden was elected, 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. Bitcoin buys cars. Zach, higher level understanding doesn't get reconciled with linear logic. Why are you wasting your time with Andrew? Again, I was hoping for a better debate from Andrew. I thought he would do better. It was very disappointing. Chris Serrato also pointed out, again, the St. Peter's connection in Jersey City. Chris Serrato chipped in another 5. Thank you for all those, Chris. Frank the Truth Tank with a big 5 said, Zach dropping truth bombs all over the place. This Andrew character is a fake Christian, just clogging up the algorithm. You know, God, a part of me wants to be a Christian again, to model what being a Christian should look like. I couldn't do it, though, in good faith, because I don't believe. I mean, I took what was good from the spirituality, which was my upbringing, being raised Lutheran. I really do feel like religion's a problem. I almost feel like if I claim to be a Christian and modeled good Christian behavior, it might be good for reaching more people, though, because there are so many people that just need to see that that person is in the same group as them. And Christianity is a big group in this nation. And really, they're a group that, if this knowledge is presented to them, they'd be likely to cling on to it than a lot of other people, because they understand things like Revelation 13. And this knowledge is the wisdom to calculate. But again, I could never fake being a Christian. And believe me, I'd done the math before I got here. I saw that the YouTube truth community was very Christian. I knew that that would be a beneficial thing to claim to be Christian. I saw many people pretending to be Christians online. I mean, there's gazillions of them. You know, from a call for an uprising to Russian vids to, again, the 2 people I just debated, to a million other people. Do you guys remember the Vigilant Christian? He disappeared from YouTube when people found out he was having sex with another man. And honestly, does Christianity even really speak against homosexuality? It kind of blows me away how many Christians adamantly hate homosexuals. I don't think there's anything too specific in the New Testament against homosexuality. The Old Testament, with the Sodom and Gomorrah story, that's very clear. I do believe there is a verse in the New Testament about man shall not lie with other man. But again, so many Christians, like, that becomes their pinnacle moral issue. And it's really not a big point of contention in the New Testament. Pursuing truth, justice, standing up against wrongdoing, helping other people, being non-judgmental. Those are like the true Christian attributes, which you hardly find in any Christians, because most people are fake. And yeah, just like, again, they're both completely fake Christians. One thing that I got corrected on in the debate was, I've always talked about how you get 72 jabs by the time you turn 18 with the current schedule, which is correct. But I said 72 vaccines. In a sense, that's not exactly wrong. It's 17 different vaccines, but you get 72 doses from birth to age 18. So that is 72 vaccines, but it's only 17 vaccines. Some of them are given multiple times. That's how 17 becomes 72 doses. He tried to make a big point about that, which again was splitting hairs. And the point I was making about the number and where it fit in with a current event, RFK Jr. becoming the director of health, which was talked about, it was clear to anyone with a brain. Space Invader said Andrew hasn't read the Bible. His grift is over. It really did seem that he was completely clueless about the Bible. I mean, every single thing I asked him, he did not know the answer to. I just find that hard to... As a Christian who's supposedly devout in their faith, who goes around debating that Christianity is superior to every other belief system, and then to show that you know almost nothing about the book. Yeah, quite amazing. Mason said, just because Zach misspoke doesn't mean the 72 claim isn't true. Yeah, exactly. Google search, does the CDC recommend 72 doses of vaccines by age 18? Yeah, that was correct. The CDC recommends that children receive 72 doses of 17 vaccines between birth in the age 18. And you know what I found interesting is that used to come up very easy in a Google search. For whatever reason, Google has made that information not wanting to come up when you do the search. Is it because people are catching on? They're starting to learn what these numbers mean about the 72 demons in the Goetia, the 72 names of God in Kabbalah. What is the 72 with Jesus as well? Hold on. There's somehow 72 in Jesus as well. 72 in Jesus in New Testament, in light of us talking about the Society of Jesus. Oh, yeah. Jesus sends out his 72, disciples. He has truly 12 disciples. It's like 72 surveyors for Jesus. That same number again coming up. Martin Roca Jr. said, this debate is over. Andrew can't even defend his book. Going out sad. Real talk. Debate more like an interrogation. Frank the Truth Tank, the popular band Slipknot has the song Gematria, the killing name. 2 members of the band went out by the code. Absolutely. Again, Slipknot equals 46. Gematria and killing equal 38. One died at 46. The other died at 38. The one who died at 46 died on 38 date numerology. The one who died at 38 died on 46 date numerology. And let's not forget that sacrifice equals 46, like Genesis 46 speaks to sacrifice. Let's also not forget that the other death connected to that band is the lead singer. His daughter died. And recall when his daughter died at a very young age, he asked that all of the flowers and cards be sent to the local Masonic temple. Interesting. We covered that at the time. Martin Roca Jr. said, my bad. I know the difference. That was a typo. You must have, in another super chat, you must have used the wrong your. Hey, no big deal. You didn't have to donate again for that. Thank you. Brandon C said L SIGs, L fake Christian, L comprehension skills. Yeah, it was a lot of L's. Martin Roca Jr. said Zach is smoking this fool. He's talking about why do you use this number or that number? Well, dumbass, he's using the numbers tied to your book, religion. Yeah, and again, he would go, what you're saying, that's not a real system. And I'd say, this is the system they've implemented, which I explained clearly, language, calendar, Bible, and the numbers that come from it, giving examples of how it's used. And then he would just go, that's not a real system. Like, okay, you can say that's not a real system. That doesn't make it not a real system, especially when it's verifiable day after day, as we talk about continuously. Frank the Truth Tank again said Marilyn Manson is a prominent member of the Church of Satan, and he has a song, You Say God, I Say Satan. The word God and Satan equate to 10 in gematria. Yeah, that was a good post. Thank you, Frank. Mr. Future said horrible analogy by Andrew. Cigs and beers. LOL. Yeah, I know. Disrespecting his temple. Mason, I'm a supporter of Andrew Wilson, but he, just like a lot of Christians, are completely dishonest about this conversation because there's a chance that this could contend with their worldview. I'm an Orthodox Christian myself. Mason, I appreciate, and everyone else, I appreciate your super chats. Some names came up a lot, including Mason. You made several donations. Mason, I when I see somebody donate a lot, I always say, you don't ever need to donate here again. I just think that's a lot of money to donate. I do appreciate it. So thank you. And again, we'll see if there's other people that come over from his world of thinking and have something similar to say. We'll see how many people have the ability to think outside of their group. I'm going to run over other comments left and see what other people thought about this. Again, it ends up being a waste of my time. And I didn't sleep at all. I mean, it's pretty important to sleep, but I've gotten used to not sleeping. So it's also not a big adjustment. But yeah, I hate like when I present, I always just try to get right to the facts. You know, you've never seen in any of my videos me doing ads. And here's this sponsorship, and today is sponsored by Hubby Cup, and you should get a Hubby Cup because it's the best cup. Just never doing any of that. Again, just presenting information. Um, when I'm done, I'll start taking calls. Some people see that often as a waste of time, but you know what? We're usually an hour into the stream. If you don't like that part, you can just turn it off. Uh, some people say that I'm presenting too quickly. I'm throwing too much information too fast. Part of the way I see that as well is it's the internet. You can rewind it, you can watch it again, you can slow it down. Um, I think everything I say is pretty clear, and I think if you're listening and paying attention, I think it should all be pretty easily absorbed. Um, all right, Gematria Snips, thank you. Good to see you, Gematria Snips. Long time no see. Um, this person says apophenia maxing. Remember, apophenia is the word that came from the Nazi scientist. For all you guys who use this, I would argue that it's a sign that you're under Nazi mind control. You're literally using their terminology. And, you know, case in point for maybe why they wouldn't want you to see things like this. What did I just expose about Elon Musk's salute? You know, we called out how it was a ritual synced with Werner Herzog. Some people from that same panel, because that's actually how I got connected to that panel. Their thing popped up in my feed the night of the salute. They were talking about it. I went on there and shared the gematria information. You know, days later, it came out that Werner Herzog's wife died on the exact day that Elon did the salute. They saved the news of her death until the 38th day of the year. Of course, Germany equals 38, like death, like murder, like killing, like RIP, fateful number. But notice it was Klaus Conrad, the Nazi, who coined the term apophenia in his 1958 book. He ended up dying at age 55 on May 5th, which is the 125th day of the year. He was essentially saying that when you spot patterns with numerology, it's mental illness. So this guy who created that term dies at 55 on 5/5, the 125th day of the year. Just think about that. We've explained that's how it works with this cabal. You serve this cabal, you often end up dying by the code. His thing was essentially demonizing numerology. He dies in a numerology ritual. He coined the term apophenia in 58. Nazi equals 58. Again, Elon Musk is doing his Nazi salutes with Trump, who also won the 58th election and supposedly got 58% of the electoral college in this one. You know, just the Reichstag fire has that 271 gematria, the 58th prime. The guy who the Reichstag fire is blamed on, his name is 201, like Hitler's birth certificate name, like 201's all over the Reichstag fire in America, which was the World Trade Centers. So, yeah, just to show you what's behind this 58 number too. From the Pope, who became a Jesuit in 58, to the word Freemasonry, Rosicrucian, Secret Society, going with King James dying in 58. Yeah, I did a video on this a while back, but yeah, for anyone who wants to use the word apophenia, just know that your boy, your Nazi scientist, who you apparently think is a truth teller, just notice how he died at 55 on 5/5. Okay. Mr. Player 20 said he asked questions and didn't let you answer nor explain. It didn't matter what you said or how much you explained. He was not listening. It's the same thing with Jimbob. A deceiving man. That's why he indulges in alcohol and cheap-ass cigarettes and debates with women. What a fool. And again, he does. He likes to debate 20-year-old OnlyFans stars. And it was really weird how he started to, at one point, he just changed it to my hairline. I was like, really? You're attacking my hairline? Andrew debates like an actual toddler. I can't even listen to this. It's super cringe. As someone who knows, again, I have seen times when he debates more in good faith. I thought that might happen tonight, as I was someone trying to show him, you know, how to calculate the number of the beast, which is something seemingly every Christian should aspire to do in light of it being part of their spirituality. It talks about having wisdom gives you the ability. As someone who knows and understands things like astrology and gematria, I think it's easy to win this type of debate and just gaslighting the entire community, and that this dude manages to make himself look like a complete imbecile against someone who's starting at a loss trying to prove something that can only be proven to those who have eyes to see. That there is a element of truth to what he said. I mean, when people's minds are closed off, you cannot reach them. But also, again, it's just like you can't win the debate by pleading ignorance. This happened in the debate. I said, apocalypse means revelation. Andrew goes, okay, let's look it up. If you look it up, it will say to unveil or uncover. Andrew goes, that's not the same. Geez, dude, ever heard of synonyms? And again, apocalypse does mean revelation. Anyone can look it up. Ever heard of synonyms? That is like Zach said, pretty much all Andrew did the whole debate. He offered nothing and just attacked the whole night rather than try to understand. This is evident by him attacking Zach right in his opening statement of failed predictions from 11 years ago. He did have Zach in moments, but overall it doesn't matter because it's not actually defeating Gematria itself. I don't know what moments he had me in. I mean, the one thing that you could say maybe he won a little bit is that I was not exactly right in my phrasing of the 72 vaccines, but I wouldn't say other than that he scored anywhere. And again, was that really a score? Because it's 72 shots. Again, the point stood for what I was saying. Andrew is an asshole. Where Zach said Christianity starts in a certain part of the Bible is absolutely correct. The Bible is not a Christian document, yet Christians consistently ignore Constantine's amalgamation of paganism with Hebraic practices, and Gematria is excellent for revealing that knowledge. Have you ever noticed the difference between the names in the OT versus the names in the NT, which that's Old Testament, New Testament, which miraculously turned European? Not to say that the New Testament is incorrect, which is why Paul's epistles are stumbling blocks for Gentiles and unbelievers. Clark IB 777 said, just saw Andrew Wilson deleted debate from his channel. He deletes most of his debates and puts them behind a paywall over at the Crucible. Why would anyone practicing Gematria have an inventory of every word that equates to 666? Part of the use of Gematria is the discovery of unlocking esoteric meaning, messages hidden in plain sight. Absolutely. Why would all right, you said the same thing twice. Probably one of those things where you post and it disappears, so you write it out again, but it was actually there. Sometimes it does delete. Ryan says, Andrew could only hold on for only so long. He's better than that other troll, but still bad faith. He doesn't see the coherent connection and keeps running in loops. He's still a troll. Yeah, running in loops. That's what they do. When he started drinking and smoking, he got worse and started mocking his work and straight up ignored him. Yeah. People must have told Andrew Wilson he has a good voice his whole life because you can hear his ego in how he speaks. Zach, I hope you have one of those rooms with lots of pictures and docs posted on a big bulletin board or a wall with multicolored thread connecting all the dots. If not, you should seriously consider getting one. You are definitely a person with entertaining talents. Thanks for engaging with Andrew. I never would have found your page otherwise. God bless you and guide you closer to him. Just so you guys know, when you see that in movies with the red thread connecting everything, the red thread is a Kabbalistic concept. You'll see sometimes people wear the red thread bracelet, like even Tucker Carlson does. Again, the Kabbalistic belief is there's an invisible red thread that connects all things. Essentially, all things are connected in this world. But yeah, even that mocking, because usually when you see that in a movie, it's kind of like in a mocking way or like making fun of somebody who's like a conspiracy theorist. I'm pretty sure A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe had some scenes like that. Yeah, the time on that was totally insane. And yeah, again, I wanted to duck out a lot earlier, but I also wanted to see it through to see if anything positive would come out in the end. By the way, it actually went even longer than that because once she ended the debate, people stayed in the back room, and there was actually the most interesting conversation of the night, including a Christian gentleman who came over who liked what he saw, and we spent probably another. Well, God, I was doing my work in the background. Pretty much the conversation went until I started this live stream. There were still 2 or 3 people in there at the very end. 586, if you're out there, man, I can tell you need some people desperately to talk to about this. 586 got in the debate again, and he was up all night in that back room just having conversations about the knowledge with people who were enjoying having a conversation. Stuart said, how many times has dude with gun shirt been beat up in his life? That guy is, see, there's certain people that hang out on YouTube all the time and they go from panel to panel and they seemingly don't have any kind of job, right? Um, and they don't really have anything to offer on the internet other than trolling. He was gloating in the night that he made way more money in super chats than I did. And I just thought, wow, isn't that amazing? This like moronic troll who literally has nothing intelligent to say. It's like, I don't care that you made more than me. I tell my community for the most part not to super chat because YouTube takes 30%. But in a sense, it's also like, how could there possibly be more people in the world that would want to feed him money? Somebody who's bringing absolutely nothing to the table. It really does seem that there's like paid for disinformation trolls that hang out and live on YouTube all day. And this is what they do. And that's what I thought Jimbob was. That's what I thought Chaotic Truth was. Again, these people both interact with Chaotic Truth and Jimbob and other panels. It is a head scratcher to me how these people can get any funding at all. Who'd want to ever donate to these people? What do they offer the world? A person who constantly inserts themselves while having a convo with another is really never listening. Andrew seems to be very indoctrinated in his thinking and his worldview. And as far as the moderator, buns. Get another person on there to moderate as well because they all seem to be intermingled with one another. They are, and I understood that, but I still thought it would be a lot better than what it was. Tonight was seemingly even more biased from the moderator and the panel. Andouche was disrespectful in this debate. Again, just starting right at the beginning by going, these Gematriatards. It's like Gematriatards. It's pretty much the complete opposite of retarded. Religion is a lot closer to retarded than what we're doing. What we're doing is breaking a code that seemingly had gone unnoticed by almost everybody for a long period of time. And when you break this code, there are all kinds of benefits, as many people in this community know. Seems to me he can't use the logic he tries to have and write off on his debates to purposely get down to the clear reason why this debate is taking place. He started being disrespectful from the start. Now, why would a God-fearing man who's taught to love thy neighbor be such a effing prick? I don't think he's as God-fearing as most Christians claim they are. I don't see anything Christian in him. Again, including not knowing seemingly anything about the New Testament. He was miffed at everything I asked him, and I asked him questions about the very beginning of the book, which he seemed to have no knowledge of. I'd love to debate this donkey who doesn't know the history of his own religious practices and beliefs. Look into the Bible and other texts. Look into all history. This goes for the majority of people who are okay with the surface level information being presented to them coming from important documents, events, organizations, so on and so forth. And aside from the whole gematria debate, there is a dictatorship in the making here in the US of A. I'm sure there's a lot of info that can be pulled from what's currently happening and what has already happened. Y'all stay solid and be smooth out there in this crazy world. Peace. Thank you for your long, thoughtful comment. The crazy thing is that they went on for 9 hours when it could have been wrapped up in an hour. I do agree with that. And it could have been just a nice back and forth for an hour, allowing an idea to be expressed and then a counterpoint to that or why that idea is not valid. Sadly, it didn't go that way. I was thinking it was going to be more like that. These morons can't understand that the events you focus on are all mainstream and always fit the numerical pattern of past mainstream numerical rituals. People don't understand. Again, we're documenting routine rituals, which is why so often we have dates circled for typical news stories. Like the mass shooting pattern is just so redundant on Saturdays with what's encoded in those stories every single week. It was the same thing this week with the hospital shooting on Saturday. The same type of thing happens often on Wednesday, but not as much as Saturdays. These people are trying to sound complex and intelligent, but clearly are lacking the story and intellect to seal the deal. Don't you just hate that? The people who try to sound intelligent and you can tell they're not. Again, a lot of people like that in that community. One way to answer the why question, simply state that it's a system they use. I think I did do that. You didn't create it. I'm pretty sure I said that numerous times. To manipulate society events, you've been able to recognize and decode it with a fair amount of accuracy by research and careful study. They wouldn't be able to still pull it off if they used a different system. Other books, Bibles don't have much to do with their system. Yeah, Andrew kept coming. Andrew's Orthodox, right? So he kept wanting to make the point, like, why don't you do it with the Orthodox Bible? And I say, because we're not on the Orthodox calendar. We're on the Catholic Church's calendar. It's the Catholic Church that's responsible for the English language as we know it. The system was implemented by them at the same time the Jesuit priests implemented the calendar. Just very hard-headed. And you know what? Part of it could be because he's Orthodox and he thinks the Orthodoxy is so much more important. And just because his whole worldview, he just can't even allow any of these ideas to permeate his brain. I think that was part of the problem with Andrew. Casey said, Casey, I hope you're doing well, man. I know you're going through a health thing. I hope you're doing better. Yeah, I hope you signed off early, Casey, because if you're going through a health thing, you don't need anything stressful in your life, man. He said, damn, I've been in and out of the loop for a while due to my cancer. Sorry, Casey. I see some people decided to have enough balls to step to the GOAT in the debate. About to jump into this one. Much love always, Zach. Sorry can't be here like I used to, but I know much love. That was the comment before the last one. Casey, I hope you're doing better, man. Evan, who came on and made some great points. He said the debate summed up. Andrew, explain this. Zach explains it. Andrew, there's no connection. Zach, how? Those are just two arbitrary points. Zach, no, they're not. Andrew, make a prediction. Zach explains prediction. No, I don't want an explanation. Just give me a prediction. And then what was funny is after I gave him one for something I think that's going to happen along the lines in the economy and how it'll be reported, 5 seconds later, he'd completely forgotten it. And then when it started to come back to his memory, he had the numbers all different. And I just thought, good God, dude. What is wrong with you? Yeah, he was definitely not interested in learning. I'm a war wizard. I don't know what that was. Was that something somebody said? Zach, going 1 against 9 was epic. Kept his composure the whole time. Reminded me of Gladiator, where Russell Crowe gets poisoned and still kicks ass. Barry Coughlin, I got 201 guns. Somebody did say that tonight, didn't they? There's more chance he's got 201 dildos. Proverbs 26:4, not to mention that it is forbidden for the masses to understand the spiritual alphanumeric implications. After God confused the languages, Nimrod being the first Mason in layman's terms, they now use universal number systems along with symbols so they can recognize the code. Yeah. That was not a good use of time. Andrew Wilson, just annoying. He isn't open to it, just want to be right to himself. Yeah. It's a problem with a lot of online debates. But again, when I debate, I always try to go in good faith and share knowledge and reach who it will reach. So many people just don't do that. They just want to straw man and downplay. And again, a lot of that tonight. These clowns showed exactly how ignorant and dumb they are. Constantly asking for someone to predict something right now is not an argument. That's not even what was the main basis of Gematria being presented the entire debate. It was about the elites who run this world and how they use it, and the occult in general. Andrew Wilson, like Jimbob, is a complete idiot who thinks he's so high and mighty, a so-called Christian who rubs shoulders with some of the most degenerate and racist individuals ever. Brain-dead clowns who only will ever listen to anything if it involves division and hate. These are the fools you see claiming they are Christian, but they don't follow the book. Yeah, indeed. Jared said, when small, feeble minds are confronted with information they can't understand or comprehend, they immediately call it crazy and refuse to allow even the possibility that there is something to it. Yeah, sadly. Amber on another post said, even the hairstylist ain't safe around these celebrities. Yeah, or the cooks, or again, I don't think it's the first time we've seen the hairstylist story either, sadly. Remember just so many things. You remember the girl that appeared in the Nelly "It's Getting Hot in Here" video? I mean, God, just you touch this world of celebrity, expect an early demise. Your number will be up. Devon E. Heron, if I'm saying that right, or it could be Devane. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong. How is anyone taking this Wilson or rim job as serious debaters? The aim of debates is not to win, but more so when presented the most convincing points. And has the moderator ever watched a debate to see how moderators conduct themselves? Andrew proves why we will continue to be ruled over. Yeah, it is sad the way humanity, just like there's so little will to cooperate and work together in our society. I mean, it's dog eat dog. It's every man for themselves, and it's exactly the way the cabal's orchestrated it. And religion's been instrumental. Andrew's someone that's very in his religion and thinks everyone else is his enemy. He also, I don't even think he's really a part of his religion. I think he just uses it for the grift. AEM Machine said, "Great job, Zach. You had great composure, definitely winning me over from being a huge skeptic." Well, I'm glad that that is the case. I really don't know how there's any skeptics at this point, to be perfectly honest, but there is, so I appreciate it. Reggie Gore said, "As I'm listening to the first guy Zach is talking to, as I'm listening, the first guy Zach is talking to is a complete D-bag." I think you mean Andrew. Randy says, "Andy, I'll give you a prediction. A year from now, you'll be the same a-hole that you are today." Dr. Savage, dedicated troll of the channel. He said, "I may have a lot of criticism for you, Zach, but this is one area I will have to defend you. You are not wrong about Gematria, how it's being used daily ritualistically to script out our fake history and keep the slaves under mind control. To think reverse engineering how the enemy operates isn't useful is just idiotic. The other thing I'm not wrong about? That flat Earth is a psyop, which is why you're a butthurt troll." All right. I guess your comment wasn't so bad there, but we also know that the second thing I said is also 1,000,000% true. The Eskimo did a timestamp, 1 hour, 11 minutes, 2 seconds. Remember when fake conservatives used to say fact checkers all worked for Obama? Yeah. David, TMSN. The problem is everyone wants to win the debate instead of having an actual conversation. Hey, man, I'm trying to have an actual conversation. There's definitely a numerological component to our reality. You can see the symmetry in nature, 100%. At an hour and 6 minutes, saying it's 72 vaccines is fine. 72 shots of 17 vaccines means you get vaccinated 72 times. Easy to follow, loser. Exactly. Please never debate these clowns again, says Ganabal. Yeah, the only way it'll happen is on a channel with a true moderator and where the moderator's good at keeping these people on topic and actually contending with the points being made. Again, what I'd say is just this knowledge is undefeated. You haven't seen anybody put one little dent in it. You've seen people think that they have, but that's only out of their ignorance and stupidity. Andrew didn't have a retort tonight when he brought up things from 2014 that I wasn't right about when I was a year into the knowledge, experimenting and trying to figure out. And again, a lot of those things weren't even serious predictions. It was like he brought up, he's like, Obama didn't die. Again, about a year and a half into this, I said, Obama's actually only the 43rd person to be president. This 44 number is connected to every presidential death. I said it's possible it could end up being the next guy who will be the 44th person to be president. And you know what? That 44th guy, Trump, he's the guy who's making that narrative the most alive. And we'll see if he finishes this term or if it's going to be like that enough is enough card. Jessica 1877 said, "Stamina, LOL. If he could only have this energy for seeking the Lord." Are you talking to me? Again, I have always believed there is a creator. I know a lot of you guys think if you don't believe in Jesus, then it doesn't count, which is also why religion is here, to keep people in these needless divisions and ignorant lanes of thought. Yeah, it's something that gets really annoying from Christians. You don't believe in God. You reject Jesus. It's like, okay, do you guys know that there was like thousands of spiritualities that came before the whole Jesus story? Not to mention the Jesus story is a ripoff of a lot of them. Anyway, Arid Wine says, Zach, your professionalism and composure was outstanding right out of the gate. Andrew tried to rattle your cage and you didn't let him get the upper hand. You did fantastic. I think there are people out there that just refuse to see things. I thought it was really rotten when Andrew couldn't get the best of you. Then they brought in a group to try to overwhelm you and you still kicked major butt. I am just really proud of you. By the way, congratulations on your cute baby girl. I truly hate a bully. And that panel was loaded. Been a long time follower. I'm really proud of you. Well, thank you so much. I still wish it would have been a lot better debate. Rico Suave says 7053. Zach, just want to say I got a lot of respect for you after watching that long train wreck. You already had it before, brother, but this was really something else. Kudos to how you handled yourself and kept your composure most of the time. Keep doing great work, my friend. Thank you. If you vape, you are a fucking retard. Dude is a clown. I wasn't paying attention to who was vaping. I know Andrew was smoking cigarettes. Zach destroyed all 9 of these clowns. I've never seen so many people be cool with getting depopulated. They would rather try to look cool than acknowledge how the agendas are being carried out. Yeah, and that's why the agendas will be carried out, because humanity just wasn't up for it. Tonight was another showcase of what a lot of our populace looks like. And I don't think that that group is much different from the norm. It's a bad look in America. I've known that for a long time. Look at the panel of Andrew's overweight goons and what's up with the hats and sunglasses inside at night. What a bunch of goofies. Here, he's got the timestamp. All right. So you got Andrew in the corner. You got my face like, oh my God. Yeah, Flow State is a total troll. The fat NASCAR guy with the sunglasses on always. The guy with the really squeaky high voice. Chaotic Truth coming on doing his Clayton Bigsby. The other, yeah, the fat video game. Yeah, again, just a panel of lames. Absolutely. Yeah, it was the basement dwellers. 10th man, yeah, the 10th man guy was really annoying. And you know, the 10th man was ew. He put his face on the screen there for a little bit and he had that big long pointy nose. Yeah, that's where we need to go, is to have the debate with Joe Rogan. John D. did not trick the court, you loser. He's a Satanist like the rest of the court, and they all conspired to script reality, loser. Yeah, I was making the point about why the King James Bible is so relevant. Again, if you look into the history of the King James Bible, there were occultists that helped create it, from Francis Bacon to John D., and he tried to downplay that. Like, okay, all right, I'm talking about the occult. I feel like that should be a receive point, not like, oh no, that doesn't count either. They're all debunked. Or it's like, what are you doing? You can't just say no. It's like, okay, God. No one is going to come up against an expert. Zero debate. There wasn't really anything offered back other than idiotic statements. BGM Cat said Andrew should stick with bashing OnlyFans chicks as a simp. Yeah. Well done, Zach. You destroyed them. Wasn't it easy, though? Well, they mostly just made themselves look bad. This guy has never opened the Bible outside a church service, so it seemed. Singing from the hymns. You show AW evidence and his Andrew Wilson evidence, and his response is, why are you looking at the evidence? You can't have a civilized adult debate with embarrassing emotional pricks. Andrew Wilson swearing and getting aggressive. Plastic tough guy. Grinning fangirl mod was embarrassing too. Yeah. Lizette on the death of Roberta Flack. Again, if you guys missed it, Roberta Flack died on the anniversary of her beginning to record her first recording session with Atlantic Records. The cover of that album is her on the piano, which has 88 keys, matching her age of death. Atlantic equals 55. She's dead on the 55th day of the year. Again, Atlantic Records. But by the way, another thing that I missed in the video I did, but Daria caught, is Roberta Flack equals 49. Lauryn Hill's 49 years old. Lauryn Hill, who covered and sang, Killing Me Softly on the Fugees song. I did talk about where Lauryn Hill was connected to it, but I missed the 49 piece, and great catch as always by Daria. But Lizette said another death in Black History Month, Chris Jasper, known for shaping some of the Isley Brothers. Yeah, Isley Brothers' most sampled group in hip-hop history. Also, celebrity hairstylist Jesus Guerrero. I think I covered that in the beginning. What I noticed about that video is actually part of the video is cut off. I don't know how the beginning of the video is missing. I noticed the beginning section of the video is beginning, so maybe I talked about Jesus Guerrero and that got cut off. If you're leaving that comment, maybe that's what got cut off. Because I noticed when I clicked on the video, I'm like, that's not where the video starts. I did a post. Yeah, it must have got cut off from the video. She asked me that. I did a post on my written blog, but, Jesus equals 34, like murder, and that's his age of death. And there's a few other things to it. Graham Nation. I'll look into the rest of this later. I'm going to try and take a short nap after this because I didn't skip last night's sleep all the way. Didn't get my standard 1 to 2 hours that we've been getting with the little baby. 37 minutes. So you can use the age difference between Adam and the rest to find out hidden information about the age of the earth or the universe, but you can't count the number of chapters or books in the Bible as a whole. Stick to OnlyFans whores, Andrew. Yeah, he just the stuff he kept saying, I was just like, is he serious? Carrie Colligan. Andrew isn't familiar enough to see the patterns. No one is perfect in making the connections. He's got a high intellect, but so does Zach. Does he have a high intellect? Like, does he? Where's evidence that he has a high intellect? Seriously. In order to understand how again, I'm just going to make a point. I don't know any intelligent religious people. I say this all the time, and it's true. There's not really any intelligent religious people. When you meet intelligent people, almost by default, they're not religious. They're also not flat earthers. There's a reason those kind of things go together too, the flat earthers and the religious types. In order to understand how an operating system works and to separate and or even excel, we see that the powers that be use gematria. So yes, it's very relevant and important to recognize. Absolutely. DST Mart said at least the first 30 minutes, both parties are allowing each other to talk, unlike dumbass Jimbob. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like Andrew has to stick to notes, whereas Zach is going straight off the dome. Yeah, I always go straight off the dome. The host is a moron. You clearly displayed the origin of the work and how it's used on the sheep with the Bible. The Bible uses numerology, end of story. Donna Franklin said, let's move along. Townsend said, this was the most dumbest thing I've ever seen. Zach, your mental fortitude is nothing to scoff at. Please never do this again. I don't like seeing multiple people get on one dude, especially when no one is willing to listen. I would have hung that call up hours ago. I should have, in hindsight, I think that's what I would have done. It wasn't worth missing a night's sleep. Some people don't want to elevate themselves. Gematria hasn't made me rich, and I'm not confident enough in my skills to start betting and whatnot, but what Gematria has done for me is heighten my spiritual awareness. I can no longer be tricked by what I'm looking at, and I have detached from any form of idol worshiping, and my journey is still ongoing. I am not perfect, and I don't strive for it, but there are truths out there, and that is the main point of the work. Again, the main point of the work wasn't ever to be about gambling. That's what most people took to, because that's where we are in society, and people do have to pay the bills, and this knowledge does pay the bills. Andrew definitely lost. By the way, did you see how Detroit in 31 hit again, just like I talked about yesterday morning? Hit again. Andrew definitely lost. Oh my God, humanity is messed up. Alcohol, beer, punks. What a wild night. I almost jumped out of my car when Andrew said I never heard anyone call LeBron King James. He did say that. I was just like, is this guy serious? It's like, yeah, you just automatically take the L, right? When you're trying to argue that LeBron James' nickname isn't King James, and then you're trying to, you could tell he did a Google search. He's like, he's also called the L Train and the Akron Hammer. How come you don't know about that? It's like, dude, nobody's calling him that. His career began against the Kings, where he played 42 minutes. Oh, God. He said, right then I knew it was going to be a long night. Good work, Zach. I was shocked too. And then when he couldn't spell Kobe Bryant, you know what, you guys, you know what else happened in the debate? He said he didn't even know that Kobe Bryant was dead. He had to confirm that that was true. Just like, I mean, what does this guy do with his life? Just smoke cigarettes, drink beer, and supposedly debate people online as a Christian when he's not? I mean, unbelievable. Mr. Boston said, much love, my brother. Super Smith said, bro really wanted a saved newspaper article from 2012 to 14 to verify the 47 Zach observed while observing the patterns originally. In my opinion, it's hard to comprehend without the gematria calculator and date calculator on the screen to visually see the pattern like we do on a typical stream. To have a visual is very helpful. At least it hooked me in right away to what was going on. He's saying by having the visual. Yeah, I get that. It's just, I don't have the luxury of the visual debating on, that platform. Alexis Williams says Zach wins all the time. These hippo Christians need to stop it. I find it funny when the dude accuses Zach of filibustering at the start while he constantly interrupts him. Exactly. Pearls before swine. And then when I finally said something to him, he acted all butthurt about it. And I was like, dude, you've been throwing insults all the time. He's like, what insults have I thrown? It's like, your opening sentence was calling me a gematriatard. I mean, come on. Pearls before swine. Yeah, it is. These guys really think they have smart gotcha questions, but they only prove how intellectually inept they are. Everyone wants some simple answers delivered to them on silver platters, but won't look into anything themselves. Why is it that the most brilliant and mathematicians that ever lived, from Pythagoras to, I don't know if I can say that name. Sounds Indian. Srinivasa Ramajana. I can't say that. Have all come, I'm going to have to look up who that person is. Have all come to the same idea that numbers have personality and hold power. Most people who would look at their equations wouldn't comprehend what they're seeing. So asking what a number means as if there is some simple answer is retarded. Can't watch this. Yeah, I don't blame you, Jared. Eloy Garcia, this podcast was the worst one, yet they straight ganged up on you the whole stream, and they knew what they were doing. Sarah was biased the whole time. Those were her buddies. A straight 1 verse 9 OFC. You were going to be under a lot of pressure. Sorry, Zach, but you know now who the real enemies are. Yeah, but it was also showing that 9 verse 1, they still can't even come close to winning. Well, my comment got deleted, so here we go again. This was very difficult to watch, let alone enjoy. If you weren't on the panel, I definitely would not have tuned into this cult community we had here. So shout out to you for putting up with so much ignorance. I truly hope we don't have to see them again on your channel. Thanks for your work and dedication, Zach. I do really want to have some good faith debates. I don't know what's possible with humanity. And maybe part of the problem is there's just not enough people who are even skilled enough in this to have a debate. The one guy who's a dedicated troll who was in the stream all night, super chatting away with misleading comments. He'd probably be maybe one of the best people to have a debate since he's so adamantly opposed to my position, but he's too much of a coward to do that. And that's because the one time we did debate, he got absolutely owned, and he knows it, and that's why the video was deleted right after it happened. And I don't even like to use that phrase, owned. Part of me feels like it's immature, but it was an absolute ass whooping. But Travis, his butthole was even more gaping after it, which was a hard thing to imagine. That character is a retard. He is definitely a provocateur. The start of his argument was so bad, all opinionated. Yeah, it was. Not bad for a 9-on-1 indulging the host where you had to know everything in the history of the world according to them. That wasn't even a debate because a debate requires both parties to know about the subject. Andrew didn't even know the basics, which is why you weren't getting anywhere because even if you tell him the numbers and connections, he just did the typical any number can equal any number thing. Once they show you they don't understand and don't care to understand, just leave it. It's a waste of time. Sarah was a terrible mod. If you can even call her one, I wouldn't do anything with her in the future. Mods aren't supposed to have a side, and she clearly did say we multiple times when she was talking about their group. In the future, require them to read your books before even engaging with them, so they at least know basic gematria. Also, but one of the panel members did buy my book recently, and he definitely got it because you could tell the copy looked brand new. And he was trying to say he'd had it for 6 years, even though it hadn't even been cracked. You could tell because of how stiff the cover was. But hey, thanks for buying the book. Maybe read it. Also, for the pro gematria callers, stop centering everything about sports gambling. All that does is turn it into a gimme pick segment. Again, the people who are most into the work, though, are into it for the sports and the financial benefit. You don't see a lot of other people that are that eager to participate. And honestly, the best participation in this community is the sports decoding community because a lot of them do work together to help each other. And again, it's the reality that we live in a world where dollars control people's minds overwhelmingly, and there's a financial incentive. And again, I hope you guys realize how much of my time I dedicate more time to the non-sports thing every day, even though there's pretty much almost no financial benefit at all in it, and seemingly few people that care. But I continue to do that because that's what the main point of the work has always been. Blocks Pixel says, I'm new here to all of this, and I just decoded GTA 6, which is arguably the most anticipated video game of all time, and the correlation I saw was insane, and I tried to post it in the official subreddit. Subreddit does not, again, I've tried to talk on those things, and I get deleted right away, too. I forget what it was that they did with GTA 6 when they dropped the trailer last year, something with the Tom Petty soundtrack. And I can't remember if I did that post. I might not have done the post on my website. See, I did a lot of posts exclusively on my Twitter, which got deleted on January 27th. And that was one of the posts I did on there. I regret doing so many posts on Twitter because I lost everything. Video games, these entertainment Rockstar, for the record, Rockstar, who makes GTA 6. Notice a familiar number here. Rockstar Games, 201, 150. Those are Illuminati numbers. The Illuminati founded on 5-1 by Adam Weishaupt, whose name equals 51, 201 and 84, like the Jesuit order. Again, Order of Illuminati is 201. Illuminati alone's 150. These numbers get put together a lot. The Jesuit order, Rockstar Games has all the numbers. And again, I mean, very controversial video game making company. In the early 2000s, they were saying that their video game was, cheapening the quality of our youth by what the video game was teaching people to do. To be a mass killer, a thief. I believe in the GTA that came out when I was in college on, what was it, PlayStation 2? Couldn't you pick up prostitutes and have sex with the prostitutes in your car? I'm pretty sure that was the case, or it might have been the one that came out a few years later, 2002, 2003. And again, I understand that, there's an innovation side in making this massive open world game. There's a lot of accomplishment there, but it's just also like what people are investing their time in, and what is the impact of these things on the human brain? And has there not been a decline in humanity in the 21st century? And it wouldn't just be, Grand Theft Auto, but just a whole variety of things. Just what the adult cartoon fascination, which has become a major thing, which is very degenerate. Just the online atmosphere. I remember I had a PlayStation 2, and I remember the first time I got like the headset to play a video game online, I just blown away that everyone was just calling each other the N-word on there. I was like, "What is this?" So these you get on and you play the game and you just call everybody the N-word. It's like what everyone was doing. I thought, how embarrassing. How embarrassing that this is our society. Um, they said it is. So this person said, "Welcome to the community." And they said, "Welcome to the community, brother. Now you're seeing the knowledge is very real." They said it is, and the fact that you can clearly connect every dot is proof that they control everything from politics to media to entertainment, then to the masses. I've been waking up since 2020 in high school, and this discovery. So a young person, probably about 20 years old, or maybe in the early 20s, is the cherry on top. I even revisited some of my favorite shows, cartoons, and animes as a kid, and even those have hidden subliminal coded letters and numbers, and there are still people out there who wouldn't believe a thing with all the proofs. Just goes to show you how easy and versatile humans are when it comes to control. Um, Josh Carey comes in with the insult. None of you can predict shit. As we just rack up predictions, as the Josh Careys of the world who are here witness and then play down. Hey, Josh Carey, what did we say, Jonathan and I, the night of the Grammys for what to expect in the week ahead and for through the month of February with regards to hip hop related deaths? I mean, there's been a lot, and I was pretty adamant that we would see one the very next day, and we did. Humane says debating morons doesn't work. I gave Andrew Wilson more credit than he deserved. Humanity enslaved. You're a smart guy. Try to be more positive, though. You're oftentimes too negative. I get it. I can be too negative too, but see, Humane Enslaved is a great decoder, and he's very good with the knowledge in sports. He knows how to multiply the bills. But almost anytime he leaves a comment, and that wasn't even a bad one, but so often he'll just leave these really negative comments. It's like, uh, I don't know if I'm paranoid, but she told me that the stream was going to be relatively short tonight, and likely wouldn't go 6 hours, which what she normally likes to do, what she did with Jimbob. So I'm thinking we're going to be done at like 3-4 hours. And then she literally didn't give me a closing statement. She gave Andrew to close, and then like just skipped off into the panel. I was kind of just waiting for a moment to get in a final say and message, and it just never got the chance and sat there for like almost 10 hours. There was like a 3-minute window where I left because my internet went out here and I had to connect through my hotspot. I don't even have that service right now, so I will see what they give you on the extra bill for. God, what was it? Another 4 hours of hotspot streaming. That also probably wasn't worth it. But yeah, I sat here in the chair for pretty much. Well, actually, it ended up being a lot more than 10 hours because then I had to do the work afterwards. Too many chefs spoils the broth. Your work ethic is deeply commendable. You can't debate with idiots. Yeah, Zach had too many facts for these clowns. Literally no rebuttals and resorting to mockery, laughter. You know how that usually goes. We need to lighten up. Math is fun stuff. How come we're not having any? Thank you, Zach. Comedy gold. Amazing listen. Well, hope you got something out of it. That debate is still going. Where do those bags of shit come from? Everybody that tries to debate Zach is nothing but a bottom basement dwelling sack of shit. Well, the one gentleman who came on and debated that the Old Testament is a better thing to study than gematria, he wasn't a bad person, but I didn't think his argument was right. I said it's really the two knowledges kind of go hand in hand. The bottom dwellers that don't know how to debate, they just know how to shout things out and cut them off and not let them explain and connect all the dots so they can. It gets annoying. Again, it's like, don't you see that we're presenting a complex topic, and it's like they don't have the patience to finish the thought, and they want to interject and say this is all unrelated. It's like you have to let me finish the point. I realize I might be talking for 2 straight minutes. I'm happy to let you respond for 2 straight minutes if I can just finish. Yeah. 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 Again, short attention spans. Yeah, it's a problem. So short attention spans are rampant in society. Because these people aren't worth dealing with. They are either in the club doing their Jesuit master's orders, not interested in truth, or just plain retarded. These people's strategy is just knock all the chess pieces off the chessboard and throw the chessboard in the air and say, I won fair and square, you suck. Yeah, that is kind of what they do. Brickyo Naran, I don't really understand your comment. Okay. But yeah, we went over the super chats. We went over other people's comments. This stream's shorter than the stream. Just like I said, there really wasn't a point in watching the Jimbob live stream. Unfortunately, this one turned out the same way. We have a few people that hopped on and want to say something. What's up, The Voice? How you doing, GAD? GAD, are you there? Oh, he's muted. He might have stepped away. He might have been back there for a minute.
You know this is all bullshit, Zach. Zach, you know this is all bullshit. What happens when you get a dude's phone number? Because you're obviously gay. When you get a dude's phone number, do you break it down? Do you take his phone number and figure out how big his dick is, or his colon, or his dirt chute?
Are you trolling
Dude,
right now? Are you
you have
joking?
not been laid. You want to debate me on this nonsense? What were you saying about the NBA yesterday? Who owns the NBA? Us Jews? Were you insinuating us Jews own the NBA? We own your ass too. I own your ass too.
Sounds like a homosexual to me.
You are a homosexual. You sound like a cultist leader with this number shit.
You
man.
own someone's ass.
All right, here, let's not. Okay, at first I couldn't tell if he was joking or not, but he's not joking. Don't even worry about him. What else did you want to say? Real talk.
It was exactly as I said it would pan out, play by play, and this isn't an attack on you, Zach. You have the gematria down, but I don't think you have the experience debating all these federal agents and all the psychological tactics and framing. So I'm going to send you an email, and we've talked before, but I have debated so many of these losers, and it's their thought process that is extremely easy to defeat. For instance, Andrew could have written your book in 5 hours. Didn't it take you 5 hours to do all your research, Zach? No, it didn't. So Andrew, Mr. Absolute Thinker, can only frame arguments with all the 201s in the world. Every 201 has to be a part of this conversation or it's not true. The people who are trying to understand gematria, when you present it to them, they're not really trying to understand. They're trying to create this absolute thinking narrative. And if you don't fulfill that absolute thinking narrative, everything you said is wrong. If that makes any sense. Because every 201 that you talked about, it didn't pertain to exactly what he wanted to hear at that exact moment. And then Andrew uses points of arbitration. What does logic and subjectivity have to do with one another? Absolutely nothing. So Andrew is making a subjective talking point of arbitration to explain objective gematria. Zach, you didn't subjectively come up with these figures that you have recorded and documented in the news for 11 plus years. You have been objective, you observed them, you documented them. Andrew wants to take subjective points of arbitration to discredit objective points of data. That's not how logic works.
Right. He didn't do anything that was logical. It was nothing but ignorance and downplaying. And again, quite frankly, I was just amazed that he claims to be, this Christian, and he showed that he knew so little about the Bible. Yeah.
That's pretty much what my points were. I mean, when I say he could have written your book in 5 hours, it's because every single data point that you've ever presented the world that may be documented in your books, he went through and he fact checked everything. So wait a second. So you're telling me that Zach could have written these books in 5 to 8 hours to find all the sources that you want to validate so Zach can just write his book in a short time span? No, this isn't how research works. It's called research. You search, you find more information, and then you research. It isn't a one search debunks all. But in his realm, this is how things are done. So as I said, the only way in which and I'm going to say that his audience is narc the fuck out, cluster Bs, because they think in absolutes. It's all or nothing. It must be this or.
I think he dropped out. Rich, you came in next. You're Rich, it's your turn.
What's up, Zach?
Yeah, what's up?
Man, like I've been telling you, man, you got to stop wasting your time with these clowns, bro. You got to. It's not you, it's them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you do a great job at debating. You know what I'm saying? I think you do a better job at me than debate. You have a lot more patience than I do. I probably would have went off, but yeah, I'm just again, man. It reminds me of CT's panel, man. They think they want you to predict something right now. It's like you go in there right now.
Well,
Like,
a lot of those people
5
came on
minutes.
also go on CT's panel, and CT even came on himself and made himself look like a clown. So
Yeah, exactly. And like shout out to my boy porn star JR. I know you guys linked up back in what was it 2023 when he went down there to the Bay Area. I linked up with him this past weekend and we was talking about that, man. We was talking about how people are programmed, man, and like they have a certain they just programmed to think a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I was mentioning to him is we was talking about how the so-called truth community, how they so-called say they're dropping information, but when you go on there and you're trying to talk to them about gematria, they just start saying like, "Oh, this doesn't mean anything," or what's the usefulness of this? You know what I mean? It's just then people are not about truth, man. You know what I mean? People are not about truth
yeah.
at all. They pretenders. They're pretenders, and you know what? Religious people are the worst because they think they hide behind their book, behind that fake book, that fake religion. They like to hide behind that shit, man. And I've known that for a long time. You know, that's why I've never went to church because I seen what that shit was, man. I remember one time I did try to go to church. It was 2018, and I already knew what I knew. And like, you see people putting money in the plate, and I'm like, come on, man, I'm not giving these people no money. But that's what it is, man. And then people are worse than the people that take money from people. These Christian YouTubers like that dude Andrew, just bottom of the barrel. You know what I mean? Bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I hear it. And these are the people that are getting traction and well funded, and it does not seem organic. It really does seem
No,
like these are agents of chaos.
it doesn't, brother. And when you see guys like Chaotic Truth, that dude doesn't have a big platform at all. You know, the way he gets super chats is like how I see a lot of people with millions of subscribers get super chats, and he gets super chats like seconds at a time. You know what I mean? So that's not organic to me. That seems like someone standing behind him.
Yeah. Well, and the troll that hangs out on his channel, who has even smaller channel, was bragging that he got even more super chats than I did tonight. And it is it's like, yeah, a troll hang out on the panel. That is interesting. Like,
And you
how's
notice
it even possible?
it's a pattern too because these trolls follow you everywhere. And again, I like to say this, man. You've sunned a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? You've sunned a lot of people. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, Rich. Well, I hear it, man. I appreciate it.
Yep. Hey, appreciate the work, man.
All right.
Thank
Take care, buddy. What's
you
up,
too.
Chris?
Hello, Zach. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. A little tired. What's up?
Me too. I stayed up to like almost 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to try to get in Stream East, and then Sarah was just not fair at all. You know what I mean? That's when I realized I just had to concede for the night and try a different day to get on the panel. You know?
Yeah. I think we're gonna be done with that channel. So
I could try to help you find maybe a neutral moderator or something like that, because like what she's doing is just totally unfair, totally biased, doesn't give other people to talk. And then if you notice before the so-called closing statement you didn't get, she said, all right guys, I'm going to drop the link to the panel, and members only, they're going to get first access. So I'm sure like there were hundreds of people in there, you know, waiting to go after you. You know what I mean?
sure. And just what kind of annoys me is before the stream started, Andrew was late to show up. Her and I were talking about it, and she was saying, like, yeah, maybe we can keep it moving and get different people in there. And then she didn't do any of that at all. So it's just, yeah, disingenuous people.
Yeah, but you know what, man? You know, you did your thing, and I hope you get plenty of sleep today, because you definitely need it, and so do I too.
All right, man. Take care.
You too, man. Thank you.
All right, real talk. You dropped out. Did you want to finish your thought?
Yeah, I was just going to say this. There's two parallels. There's the natural side, the natural order, and Gematria observes a very unnatural order. But there's the organic side of Gematria that you have broken down numerous times, which is the natural occurring order. So naturally, logic, truth, nuance, and abstraction, they run in parallel with one another. And that's the side, if you understand this Gematria, that's the side that you're on. You have abstract pieces of objective data that are pinpointing to typically a singular truth. It's always hard to pinpoint who's running the world exactly, because the Jesuits could be a front for another outfit. We don't know this, but the bottom line is logic, truth, abstraction, and nuance are on one side, the natural order of things. And then the unnatural order is absolute thinking, all the lies, which is against the truth. And there is no availability for nuance. It's all or nothing. So if you get in the arena with an all or nothing thinker, where they need every gematria example to stack up to the moon in order to understand it, walk the fuck away. Because you're speaking to a brick wall who's most likely suffering from cluster B personality disorder. And by the way, the biggest tall tale sign that someone is cluster B, it's known as cofabulation, Zach. You probably thought that Andrew was trying to gaslight you last night. What if Andrew is a cluster B? What if he was abused in his childhood? What if his father beat the piss out of his mom every night and he had to endure that and experience that? And what if Andrew has a drinking problem and a cigarette problem because of something along those lines? He's been battling it his whole life. And what is the biggest tall tale sign of someone who has cluster B? It's known as cofabulation. You think they're gaslighting you. No, 50 to 80% of their memories, they can't remember properly. So there's huge holes in the information which you gave him last night. And he was trying to recall the data in which you gave him, but he couldn't recall it properly. Because Andrew's most likely a cluster B who thinks in absolutes. He has to have these stacked up rituals, and he has 50 to 80% memory loss. So he pretty much let the world know that his mentality stopped when the abuse started in his childhood. He's about 9 to 10 years old. Does that fit? Does that make more sense now?
Well, that could be an explanation for what you see in a lot of people in society. Yeah, it's possible.
And I hate to speak in absolutes about this, but as I say, if you study Professor Sam Vaknin, who wrote the most important book on something that they're trying to cover up, that's what we're battling here. We're battling a bunch of adults, children in adult bodies, who do not have cognitive abilities to even speak or acknowledge the set of knowledge we call gematria. And I'll end on that because, like, I'm beating a dead horse. I've just seen this time and time again. You try to speak something that isn't absolute in thought, and you will get attacked because it's a mob of absolute thinkers. It's all or nothing, Zach. And since your answer is somewhere in the middle, you're the worst person on the planet. And I can't stand it. So I've got to evacuate, bro. I appreciate everything you do, but you got the thickest fucking skin on the planet. So I people, they got to give you your flowers after what you've endured. And please get some sleep. You're a father. You got more important shit to worry about than these liars and deceivers. But I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it, man. You have a good day.
You too.
Dax Hunt, you were next, and then we got Stony.
Yeah, I've been paying attention to Gematria for a while. I think ever since, like everybody else, ever since you did the whole Kobe breakdown, even before that, you did the whole Juice WRLD and Nipsey Hussle shit. My bad. I didn't, no profanity, my bad. But you broke down the whole Nipsey Hussle and Juice WRLD and all the rappers before 2020 even hit. And we're living in a time where people are just narcissistic. Real talk is right. People are not mentally equipped anymore. They literally dumbed down society so bad to the point where people can't comprehend anything. I mean, even what you was talking about, the this outbreak going around. I'm even dealing with it right now. I'm feeling like weak. I'm sick. I barely get sick, and it's like a flu. It's like all of these, basically what I'm trying to say is the world right now, we're in a paradigm shift, or we're in a realm where people are not the same. I mean, from the early 2000s to even the 2010s, people had some cognitive sense. It's like now people are just becoming very vain and ill. They don't even care. Like even with the live stream that that you was on yesterday. I mean last night. Well, yeah, last night with the people and all of that. They were literally just rebuttaling you because they wanted to. That's the only way of communicating. People, that's the only way of people communicating, of just rebuttaling and just being very obnoxious. And that's the problem with society today. No, they can't understand gematria because gematria is information. People who are obnoxious and ignorant, they don't care about information. They don't care about knowing things. They just want to feel all the time. Everything's a feeling for these motherfuckers. And that's the bullshit that's happening with society. Everything's a feel. So this is why people are getting super chats and getting all this money and all of that. Like you have more subscribers than than that Sour Girl, Sour Tomato, whatever her name is. You have way more subscribers than her. But she gets these super chats and she gets all of this feedback and all of this recognition because we're living in a corny ass society of men. They're like Tinder. They're trying to prove a point, especially when there's a female involved or a female present and around or just around. So this is why despite the gematria, I definitely understand gematria. I'm not even talking about gematria. I'm just talking about the state of society of people. And this is going to get worse because as time went on, through the 5 years of from 2020 to 2025, people had legit free dopamine. You're getting clout for no reason. You're getting attention for no reason. You look like shit. And it's like people even treat their bodies like shit and they still get clout. It's disgusting. I hate TikTok. I hate all these social media platforms because they're giving people free dopamine. All because they're funny or they're relatable or it's just garbage. It's nonsense. You know what's the relatable? Fat, nasty. Everyone's like that in America. Everyone's a fast food demigod. Everyone loves their little mocha lattes and their little biggie bags. So now we're dealing with chaos. We're literally living in idiocracy. That shit was a real documentary. It wasn't fake. It wasn't fiction.
That's what I thought too. I thought this is Idiocracy 2025 late night edition.
This is why, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Dax, I sadly I think you're absolutely correct, and I mean the things you're saying is also the things I've been ranting about for years, and I feel like COVID on just society has gotten even dumber, and that's hard to imagine, but it's just we're on a really bad track right now as a people.
it's not gonna get better. I mean, if anybody thinks this is gonna get better, you're just as delusional. Now wait, now of course the community can get bigger. Like me, I never really came around. This is my first ever time ever even speaking like this. I think I might have commented 1 or 2 times. Like I think it was like last season or 2 seasons ago when it was the Rams versus the Minnesota, and I think it was like a date numerology correlation, and you comment like my comment. So I definitely get Gematria, and Gematria is not gonna always hit. Like that's the stupid thing that with people. It's information, bro. Think about it. Your brain is your refrigerator, and information is your food. Now, do you just get only onions? Do you only just get milk? No, you get a whole bunch of things because you need all the nutrients in your refrigerator to. Basically, what I'm trying to say is information is everything. There's gematria, there's nutrients information, there's food information, there's it's a whole bunch of studies of everything. You can study clothes, you can study a whole bunch of things in life. And that's the thing about information. You just take everything, and you should take yourself like you're a human encyclopedia. Don't try to jump shift and I don't know. If it's facts, then just store it. You don't have to justify information. Just okay, that's that's the correlation. Oh, that's how it is. Wait, LeVar Ball just got his foot amputated, and LaMelo is hit the game runner, and his brother has the most hit song.
Right.
I mean, come on, like you can't fuck Gematria, bro. Just think about what's happening.
Absolutely. Hey, Dax, I like the way you put everything. Very well said. I want to let everybody else get in real quick, and then I got to wrap it up. I got to take some kind of nap before I got to get back to it.
For sure. I'm definitely trying to get rid of this nasty bug cold that you said is going around. So everybody just keep your mental straight, your immune system straight, your respiratory system straight, because this shit I'm dealing with right now is nasty. I'm over here inhaling oregano and cayenne pepper and turmeric. So everybody just stay healthy and stay safe.
Indeed. Get better soon, Dax. Good to hear from you.
Peace.
It was Stony next, then Reno Sauce, then Jared Bailey. What's up, Stony?
What's up, Zach? Can you hear me all right?
Loud and clear.
All right, bet. Man, first time I came across the Gematria was whenever Kobe died. I came across your video, bro, and immediately my mind was open to it. And I've been trying to get my friends onto the info for a while now. I don't understand people. I just don't get it. Like, even if they don't believe, it's not even a little bit interesting to just like research. You know what I mean? And that always blows my mind when people just turn ideas off from the jump. Because, even if you don't believe something, the people that do believe it act on it. And that's why it's important to learn the information. But real quick, I just wanted to say I went to Andrew's channel, The Crucible. He was streaming the debate last night. And I went back today to see what the comments were saying. It's not even on his channel anymore. So I think that speaks for itself as far as how the debate went. I mean, he debates everybody like that. A lot of straw man, a lot of fallacies. His best debates come against dumb bimbos on these dumbass podcasts about relationships and shit like that. So, I mean, W on your part all the way, bro. That's all I wanted to say.
Appreciate it, Stoney. Thank you. You have a
Yes,
good
sir.
day. All right, Reno Sauce. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing, Zach? I appreciate you, man, for everything. And I could say that a million times.
Thanks for coming on again.
By the way, man, it's Ray Rosas.
Oh my God, I
probably should make it Ray No Sauce, just like to be funny,
well,
man.
Hey, I'm reading it with no sleep.
Hey, maybe that's just like a test or a challenge for me, man, to step my game up, to level up into Ray Rosas.
Like when
it's totally fine, my brother.
Be like Zachary, I'd be like, come on, man, whose name is Zachary? Come on.
Or even when they spell your name Zach with a CK at the end, that kind of bothers me.
I don't that one. I'm like, well, people spell it that way, so I get that. But Zachary, who's got that name? Come on, substitute teacher.
Now, well, you're the legend, man. I appreciate everything. I was kind of just coming on just to ask like a two-part question. Like basically, do you have any YouTube videos that are uploaded still where you are talking about the sacrifices as far as like in the celebrity world, where it's like a stream where you're doing like live calls, you know, having people like call in and asking about their favorite actor, their favorite celebrity, you know, favorite musician, and then we can like decode in live time like, you know, what's going on and like why this person is not legit, you know, and um if you
Well,
do,
maybe the
could
stream
you
like we did
send
the
me
night of
some
the Grammys
links?
on February 2nd is probably the closest thing to that recently. Jonathan and I streamed the
Okay.
night of the Grammys. We were talking about why there's going to be dead rappers in February, no doubt about it, based on what happened at the Grammys, and starting probably the very next day, February 3rd, and boom, of course, there was. So,
Wow, yeah, no, for sure. And that's definitely how it has to happen, you know, for some of the people that don't have the talent, you know, to really be having that kind of platform, you know. Um, And so like I want to know if would that be possible if we could have a stream where we could have a call-in show where, you know, like let's say, you know, how I had said my favorite rapper or my favorite musician back in the day was like RZA. And you know what I mean? I could get like, you know, a whole bunch of people inspired to be like, well, they can come on and list their favorite person. And then we can really see, okay, did this person make it because they had the talent, or did they make it because they, you know, did some kind of crazy sacrifice, you know, they, you know, sold their soul, you know, however you want to label it, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear all that. All right, Ray Rosas. I got to get it right.
Yes,
So
sir. Because
appreciate you, man.
Rosas
Thank you.
is my middle name, brother.
I
So
see. All right, middle name. All right, not
and
giving
I'm
it all
on
away.
Mighty Network, so I got to get back on and start posting and uploading there. But you can
All
find me
right.
Christopher R. Aguilar. You can
Yeah,
just
yeah,
look
I
me up
recognize
on
that.
Mighty. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, man.
Already,
You have
you
a good
have a
day.
good one. Salute.
Yeah, you too. All right, take care. All right, what's up, Jared?
You hear me?
I can.
Hey, I mean, I just want to say, I'll be quick too, because I got to go to bed too. I work nights, but I just want to say, I mean, you have to leave room for let people doubt somewhat. When I first came across this, it's been 6 years now. You know, my first reaction was disbelief, like, wow, what's this crazy guy fucking talking about? No way. But the difference is I took the time to try to prove it or disprove it to myself, you know, and once you keep finding more and more, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's kind of a mind fuck at first, but you know, and and people have called me crazy over the years, you know, family and friends, but you know, the comments are getting fewer and fewer the more you can only be right so many times and people will start to notice, you know. But the common reaction that I normally get is, oh, well, with the numbers, you tend to find what you're looking for, you know, and I just think that's the most bonkers argument ever. I mean, what other topic is there that the more evidence you find supporting it somehow disproves it? I mean, I don't comprehend what they're trying to get with that argument. It doesn't make any sense to me, but appreciate what
And
you
that's
do.
exactly what I've always seen. The arguments against what we're presenting just don't make sense. They're logical fallacies. You can tell these people haven't really taken the time to do the research, but they want to come to this conclusion, maybe because it clashes with their worldview.
Well, and some of it's ego too. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you know, and that's probably what it was with me at first. Like, oh, there's no way this all was in front of my face and I didn't see it. You know, I've always been interested in history and in language and words and stuff. You know, and it, the one thing I wasn't good at, thanks to the school system, was I didn't have an appreciation for math. You know, I wasn't paying attention to the numbers enough. But I mean, there's nothing connects every, you know, I feel like my eyes have only been open for these 6 years, you know, so I appreciate you, and I'm gonna get off here and let you go to bed.
All right, buddy. Get some rest too. You have a good one, man.
You too.
All right, take care. Jared came out and pounded pavement with us in Buffalo. 201 hopped on. 201.
What's going on, Zach? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. First off, I want to apologize how I came off last night or a few hours ago about that 9-hour mark. There was some Gematria guys that were in there that were kind of helping out, but with all the noise and everything, I couldn't really understand who was talking to me. So I kind of like was, shooting bullets at everybody. But it was a stupid debate. I mean, that moderator's just a moron. She first started off, didn't even put anybody in our community in there. They put you behind the 8 ball, but just like you know how to do, you can always hit that corner pocket shot. You can even bank it. And you obviously won that debate. We're always here to back you up. But I really just wanted to come on and apologize for like coming off a little bit harder. It was a long night. And I just got tired of hearing them constantly just berate you with all this nonsense and not even letting you get a chance to explain yourself and build the foundation to the questions that they were asking you. So I wanted to push back a little bit. And, just came off a little rough, but I do want to apologize to the community for that. But, sometimes you got to kind of be that way, to get through to people. Whether I did or didn't, it didn't matter. I guess they thought that I was an idiot. I understood the whole point about I'll give you $20 to, if you get your pick right. But it wasn't about the money. And it's not that it took 4 people to explain that. I had to explain to 4 people that that's not what I'm about. And that's fine. That's my life. It shouldn't have to matter to them. But we're still using the knowledge. And my son's going to put some money tonight. And he sure as hell's going to win because it's always going to work some way or another because he does his pop quizzes. He takes the notes that you give, does his review, and he makes his own decision. And he never says that damn Zach because he doesn't win every time. Nobody can. Nobody's perfect. But I just wanted to come on and say we're always here to back you up in this community, man. And, I really am sorry for coming off that way because I rewatched it and it was a little harsh, a little rough.
I think you were just fine, but I appreciate it, 201.
Thank you, sir.
All right, man. You have a good day.
You too.
All right, take care. All right. Is there anybody, GAD, GAD I think was up all night too. GAD, did you fall asleep? Hopefully you did. I'm not sure if he's back there. He's been in the room the whole time, but I think he fell asleep. GAD back in the day called it a TFR and fell asleep too. I remember that. He stayed up. Yeah. Again, I want a good debate so bad. And it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's not possible. Somebody said Adept HNIC did a breakdown on your debate. Check it out. I don't know who Adept HNIC is, but I am going to check it out to see what that could possibly look like. Fed Andrew Wilson debates Zach Hubbard on whether Gematria exists. We got a little typo in the thing, but it's nothing I haven't done myself before. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not going to spend all 2 hours watching this right now. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to have to change some audio. Oh, hold on. Here, you know what? I'll drop the link for it. We'll let Jay get in here, and then we'll wrap it up. Saved by Man's in the back room, too, if you want to get on. What's up, Jay?
Yeah, I'm not going to, just say, a bunch of the same thing over and over again. I'm just going to hammer in the point that you could have, when it comes to people like that, it doesn't matter what you say. They're always gonna be super disingenuous compared to, because that's what they always try to do. They always try to compare it to this other thing that just because numbers are included, when obviously the level of preciseness that you're documenting with the events that happen is obviously very different from them trying to troll and be like, oh well, I'm fucking 20 years old and I just fucking ate 20 fucking cookies or trying to like troll and do shit like that. Oh, it's 3:00 right now. It's like, okay, bro. It's not on the same level of LeBron James winning the finals 41 weeks exactly from his birthday when Kobe Bryant dies that year with his fucking dog. Like I had to fucking check out, like, especially when one of the guys pointed out that LeBron James won on Father-Daughter Day and Kobe died with his daughter, and they were like, well, you're just connecting anything to anything. I'm just like, nigga, even when you don't use numbers, they still just try to find a way to shit on it and act like you're schizophrenic, like there's something wrong with you when you're literally just paying attention to shit.
And it's
So
not just them, right? It's a lot of people in
yeah,
society
a
that
lot
are
of
the
people.
same way.
And I got a lot of shit just for pointing out the father-daughter day thing with Kobe Bryant. I didn't even show the numbers. I was just pointing that shit out, and people were saying I needed help, and I can't fathom. Honestly, I can't. I like, admittedly, so I find myself nowadays having to check out a lot because I don't know how you do it. Like, nobody can say that you have like no patience, that you just go off the like, nobody can sit here and say that shit. Watch you get up on here for several hours, an entire work shift, literally an entire work shift, and just be bombarded, like literally just gang mobbed by a whole bunch of people when their only intention is to diminish what you're trying to show or what you're trying to enlighten the world with. And it's like it's not even a debate. It's like it's a grown man trying to teach a newborn how to write their name or tie their shoes. They're just not gonna get it. It's like the IQ point, like they're just not gonna get it. The brain capacity is not there. And I just end up having to check out because it's just like, I just realized it's just a lot more healthier for my mind instead of trying to like just talk to a wall or somebody that really doesn't have any intention of getting it. Because accepting a lot of these things that are going on, it would shatter a lot of people's worldviews, and it would make them uncomfortable. So they're gonna try to be disingenuous. It's the same thing when you try to point out to somebody that, hey, this thing that you're doing every day isn't good. This addiction isn't good. Eating fucking McDonald's every day isn't good. Smoking every day isn't good. And they'll try to find every reason to justify what they're doing and oh well, it's, this is that, and try to deflect and do all that stuff. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of people just don't want to see it. They don't want to see it, and that's what the problem is.
Yeah, it is. Ego is a big
Ego.
problem.
And the only thing I'm gonna say is that I do have like experience in debating, and I know that a lot. I knew like a lot of what he was trying to do was very disingenuous. I don't know how many people you've debated, but I used to debate people about other topics and stuff like that, and I'm aware of like all the tactics and all the things people will use, like to the disingenuous, the things people debaters will use and say to try to make fun of an argument or undermine an argument or try to basically trap you, and that's just another thing that they use to try to make themselves look more credible. And this little fake demeanor of know-it-all that he tries to put on, that he was like he's trying to like articulate himself well, and people who are simple-minded, they'll fall for it. They'll see, oh well, him raising his voice, using all this stuff, they'll fall for it, and they'll think that, oh well, look at how collective he is, and then just trying to put on this super macho know-it-all act, and that's how they trick very simple-minded people into believing that you're the one that lost when
That's the whole
guys
problem with
are
our
being
society,
disingenuous.
right? Simple-minded people getting
Yeah.
easily tricked.
Exactly.
And
They
we're
need
trying
these
to put
absolute
people-
answers.
Right. We're trying to help people out, and they don't want to help. They want to mock the person helping them out. It's the Malcolm X
Yeah.
quote, man. It's the Malcolm X quote. So that's why I always say, man,
It's
I would
harder.
rather
It's
be
easier
someone
to
that's more the
fool.
guy that knows
It's
more.
easier to fool people than to convince them that they
that's
have been
what
fooled.
Sling
That's the
quote
reason
is.
why that quote is always on my channel, because it's just the most apparent thing in this society.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's all I have to say.
All right, Jay. Stay strong,
All right.
man. Yeah. Protect the mental. All right. Take care. All right. We got Mason on. Mason was super generous. Mason, no more super chats. Thank you very much.
No problem. No problem. Do you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say that I have been watching your content for the past, I would say, few years, especially after 2020, on and off kind of thing. And Also, I will say that Andrew Wilson, in terms of my faith, because I am a Christian, I know you're not, and again, I understand that, especially with the errors of Catholicism and Protestantism that can lead people to that understanding. But he actually did help me in terms of my Orthodox understanding. But that being said, when I have heard him debate, through times in the back of my head, I never wanted to flat out say that he was disingenuous at first, but I would think to myself that he would solely try to fit things within his purview or to make it seem as if his points are correct, when in terms of Christianity, how it's supposed to be, and even the book calls us to question our faith in order for us to strengthen our positions. But it doesn't seem as if he really wants to do that, because when it comes to something like gematria, it really does call into question the things that you believe, and not even just theology, but just contemporary means to even why you do things or why society flows the way that it does. And so when you were making those points, and in my mind, and I'll say in terms of orthodoxy, I am a baby when it comes to that. I just became catechumen last August. And so there's a lot of things I'm learning, but how my brain works, and maybe this is just the masculine imperative, but if it logically makes sense, then I can flow with it, and then I can research it on my own, and then ask questions to those who are more knowledgeable than I to make sure that the information fits. You see what I'm saying, or where I'm getting to?
I do.
Yeah, and so it gets to the point with Andrew, it's in Jimbob and those who are in the sphere. It seems that when they were arguing, when they were debating with you, they just wanted to argue with you and make you look like a fool. I didn't see any. You could tell from his opening statement, he basically called you a tard. I'm keeping it clean for you too.
Gematria tard.
Yeah, and it's just, well, I was like, well, first of all, even if you agree or disagree, like, hear the man out, and then when you're spitting out these numbers, right? I'm not saying that disrespectfully, but when you're spitting out these numbers, it's like, okay, I want to know how you got to this point, and if it truly does make sense. And I could understand, like, just from for lack of better terms, a layman's perspective, it's like, well, you're just using numbers and correlates that fit within your purview, which it could be seen that way, right? But then if you start to mention, it's like, okay, well, why are these sports programs mentioning these random stats that have nothing to do with the games, but they're correlating with the players that are on the field, or it correlates with past events or past schools that they went to? And then you start getting to the cultist aspects of it. You start getting to Skull and Bones. You start getting to Jesuit orders. You start seeing how far back this went. Even in what I've learned, when you think of the West has always been Rome, at least in the modern day sense. Everything, all roads lead back to Rome, and they laughed at you about that. But it's like, it doesn't really make sense to see that, especially if from an Orthodox Christian perspective, it's Rome split from the Orthodox Church. So if you see from that perspective, I see it from an East versus West perspective, everything you were saying is making sense. Because truth be told with you, I mean, I am of the West. I live in the West, but I'm not of the West in terms of the way of thinking. You see what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, like, I don't merely hold solely to a scholastic viewpoint of things. Because again, I am a Christian, so there is a mystical aspect in terms of how I see things and how I think. But I do understand that scholasticism is still an important aspect to hold on to in order to learn things. And you can actually use logic and scholasticism in order to build your faith as well, as it should be. Because when you think about it, scholastics and logical natures, if God is truly an omniscient, omnipotent God, those are all essence and natures that come from him. So when you make these points, it makes sense to me, because I see this like, okay, if we're all made in the image of God, and then you and other people like you are bringing this stuff to the forefront to make people aware, I kind of see that as maybe God is trying to speak through people. It's like, hey, these are the things that these Satanists or Luciferians want to do to you. This is how they want to trick you. Maybe he's breathing essence in us in terms of how to combat this. That's just how I see it. And it's not a sense of me serving two masters, because, and I'm not really picking on you or the community in general, but it's like, when it comes to like gambling, things of that sort, I understand from your purview. It's like, hey, listen, they're going to try to take advantage of us. I'm going to take advantage of them. That's just not something I do, but that's more of that's a conscious thing for me. Like, I understand the viewpoint. It's just not something I would advocate. But am I going to call you a fraud for that? No. It's like, if I were to call you a fraud, then I would have to have sufficient evidence backing up my claims, not just, oh, I just type in my name in the gematria calendar. It's like, oh, well, my name matches up with X, Y, and Z. So does that mean I'm this? I'm like, well, no. You if you're not a part of that in crowd, then what you put in that calculator doesn't matter, right? You actually have to be associated with these groups. Then they'll use your names because, again, names have power. They'll use your names and probably mold your career based off of that. You see what I mean?
100%.
You know, and it's like, again, to me, like it makes sense. It all clicks together. But I think for people who are just stuck within their purview or their perception of reality, even though reality is reality and perception of reality is just how each and every person see things, but you can't change reality for what it is. Now, these Satanists and these Luciferians try to, but that's not that. But again, that's what they're trying to do. It doesn't mean they can just change reality like from the forefront of it.
So,
you know,
as a Christian, I must ask you again.
Mhm.
I don't consider myself a Christian, but I'm a lot closer to a Christian than most Christians actually. A lot of people who consider themselves Christian are a lot less Christian than I am.
Right.
What you see in an Andrew or a Jimbob, do you see a Christian in those people, or do you see something that's more satanic?
So that's a strong. I won't say satanic, but what I will say is, and again, especially because of my personality, I kind of vibed with Andrew and Jimbob in terms of how direct they are in terms of their faith. I can resonate with that. But what I can't resonate, it's if they're speaking with people, you know, who are outside of their purview, just how, what is the term that I could think of?
I have to ask you
I
a
mean,
question.
business
What
they
do
could
they model
be.
to you that is Christian?
Well, I would just say the direct nature in terms of how they come across their faith. Like I think of the prophet Elijah when he had mocked those who tried to test God. They used their gods to try to test God. You know, so I appreciate that purview, but something like that has to be used in doses. You can't just base your entire theology or your faith just on lashing out and trying to attack people. That's where it starts getting to the point to where you start subverting the body of Christ into your own understanding. When you need to have, yes, you need to have that straightforwardness, but you also need to have that gentleness and that patience as well with people. Like again, there could be some things that me and you may disagree about. I'm not going to cuss you out, call you an idiot, or call you a retard, because I mean, what is that gonna do for the conversation?
Right.
Absolutely
And that's
nothing.
mostly accusing.
Yeah, exactly. Because nothing that you said was right. Like, for example, when you said, and again, when it comes to gematria, I've watched your content, but I've never practiced it or really tried to so much as learn it to apply to everyday things. Again, it's more so if I see it and it makes sense, I acknowledge it and I hold on to that. But that's not really my life goal in terms of what to do with gematria. You know, but when you mention certain dates, like let's say 9/11, like 911, right? Like that's what a number that could come out to. But then the dates are 9/11. It's like, no, it's not. It's just because it's a 9 and 11. That's not the thing that syncs with the 911. It's the fact you see those three numbers in that order, right? And you got to understand what the system that they're using is like, they're humans, right? So you can't always make everything match perfectly, but you can have synchronicities that give way to what the practice is. And I don't know how, again, like you as intelligent as he's supposed to be, how could you not see that unless you're just not trying to, and you're trying to make someone look like a fool?
Right. But he's really just making himself look like a fool to anyone who's intelligent. Yeah,
I mean,
they're both very disingenuous people. And from my understanding of what a Christian is, I'd say they're closer to satanic. I see them as evil people, very disingenuous, mean-spirited, judgmental. I don't see anything that they're practicing that reminds me of Jesus.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't go to say satanic route, but definitely like mean. After that conversation, definitely mean spirited, because again, like with me, and my dad was in the Marine Corps, right? So in terms of like just how Andrew speaks, sometimes it's like, okay, I grew up with that, and my dad is a great man, you know, so I can kind of stave off of like at times where I think he's going just a little bit like too much of the hammer on the nail, because I'm just used to that personally, so that doesn't bother me. But when I hear how we speak to you, I'm just like, okay, like, or when I talk with Jimbob, and I know you said Andrew wasn't as bad as or I think you said and Jimbob was worse than Andrew, which I completely agree, because when you were explaining your points, like he would be sticking out his tongue or moving his head like a child. I'm like, bro, you're in your 40s acting like this. Like, I just turned 27 this year. You know what I mean? I would never in a million years think to act like that if I had someone who was my opponent and they're bringing their points to me. So, I want to know what your points are, and then I want to deconstruct them bit by bit just to try to poke holes in your argument. And so, but again, I think what it is, instead of admitting, defeat, just make this person look like a fool. And so not only will the message get lost, which I think yesterday, and granted, you went for about 10 hours, right? So of course, I think the message did get lost at some point, but I think that's ultimately what the goal was, especially when you got ganged up at the end with it was basically a 9v1. I'm like, okay, this is supposed to be an open panel, right? So shouldn't it at least be half and half, or if it is uneven at times, it's only one more than the other. Try to make it as equal as possible. But all these people who were coming after you that didn't agree with your worldview, and the moderator was just sitting there letting it happen. And then whenever you would try to defend yourself, and I'll admit, sometimes you do draw on a bit, but with the nature of Gematria, it just, you kind of have to. You can't just break it.
It's not something that can be explained in just a soundbite. It's a complex topic. You have to listen to the point that's being made. I'm trying to paint the picture of how it's being used by these people. And I don't see it as my worldview. I see it as something that I discovered about the controlling forces, how they operate.
Yeah, and exactly. I'm like, look, that's exactly when they were trying to say, make a prediction right now. It's like, you do realize that those in this space, now I don't know, some people in this space may have called themselves prophets. Again, I'm just not a part of the space like that, so I wouldn't know. But from what I know about you, you've never claimed to be a prophet, and you've never claimed to not be wrong, because again, you're not the one who made the system. You're just the one who's trying to expose it. Because you think certain predictions, right? Think about the Rams and the Bengals, right? So many people wanted to pick the Bengals because it was a year of Tiger. But so things that you mentioned, right? Well, look at Odell Beckham. He has the purple dye in his hair. Purple is the color of royalty. Or think about Aaron Donald. Every time he would get game-clinching sacks, what would he do? He would point to his ring finger. So those are certain telltale signs where it's like, okay, we're going to make you believe that it's the Bengals that are going to win this. But in all actuality, is this team. Think about the pass interference that Logan Wilson had, right? He locked up Cooper Kupp, but they threw that flag so they can get that first down, so they can score.
You want to know about the organic side of this, Coach? A lot of people think I'm in the Illuminati because of this. 263 days after Super Bowl 56. 263 is the 56 prime number.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp's grandfather, who played in the NFL, bought my house. And it was the weirdest thing. I just thought, how my house was for sale, but just out of all the people, he was the only guy who made an offer on the house. I just thought, how is this even possible? How weird is this? His grandfather's Jake Kupp. There's 3 generations in the NFL.
You know what I think about that, though, is I think with these occultist personalities or people, what they'll try to do is they'll try to get you in close with things like money or property or status, and they'll try to befriend you. And then when it comes to that point to where, you're in, that's when you're ensnared. So I could probably see that's why something like that happened towards you. It's like, okay, we got to try to get this guy on our side a little bit. So let's buy this house from him, and then maybe he'll chill out. But
it's hard to say, man. He seemed like a really innocent old man. I did have a very good conversation with him and his wife was leading towards me. She's like, Jake, I always thought the games were kind of rigged. He's like, I swear to God, I never knew that they were. They weren't like shouting me down or anything. They're like, but it was just the weirdest thing. And if it was a ritual, that also blows me away. But trust me, just one of the strangest things that ever happened in my life.
No, who at the end of the day is like, who knows what the right answer is? You can only make so many inferences, right? But it's just, it's just to a point when you think of a topic like this, the best way that I take it is like, listen, if we believe, right, that there are nefarious people who want to do away with Christianity, or as the devil has done, use Christianity as a tool to prop himself up, how could you not believe that a system like Gematria has existed for pretty much thousands of years, especially when the Orthodox Church has a foundation over 2,000 years? Do you not think you think of concepts like Arianism or Nestorianism, things that have always been done to subvert the church, that existed and are resurfacing in other Protestant denominations. If these things have existed long before we were here, what's to make you think that these particular systems just can't have a basis? You know, again, that you don't even have to think it's true, but the thing that can't be there based upon your worldview, it's just illogical. It is illogical.
I agree. You're a very intelligent young man. Do you ever think
Also,
about the contradictions in this world? I imagine your father is Christian.
yes, not Orthodox, but he's Protestant.
Okay, like a lot of us.
Yeah.
Do you think isn't it interesting how many Christian men go in the military? Isn't there a major contradiction here?
Yeah, and you know, and things, because I'm in the military myself. Now, I joined before I knew, all of this, and that's part of. I'm not gonna lie, part of the reason why I want to get out, especially after the little jabby. That's what kind of made me open my eyes to where it's, what am I fighting for? And so, let me look up some of these military occupations. It's like, we're really tight and close with Israel. Well, as a Christian man, and the army is supposed to promote Christian values, why are we in line with Zionists who directly oppose Christ? They hate Christ. Yeah, have you ever read the Talmud or some of the Talmud when they said Jesus will die in shit?
Because it's written in Hebrew, it's hard to know if that's exactly what it says.
Yeah.
I've read that that's not a true.
I'm sorry for the cursing, by the way.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry for the cursing, by the way. It's a translation in the book. That's why I said.
You can curse. I try to curse less now that I have a little one. I try to have a better mouth, but
I'm having a little one soon. Girl, actually, like you. So
I got a little girl. You know what? I'm happy I got a little girl. She's just so sweet. So I think it might be a blessing to have a daughter first. I've been told that it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's gonna help me too to calm down a bit, because especially as a young man, I just kind of always want to go, and I'm always like, when I have a kid, they're gonna know how to fight, this, that, and the third. But and I make those jokes hyperbolically, but just with a little girl, it's something to where I just really want to nurture her and really protect her, and I think that'll help me mellow out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure it will help you. And I mean, I don't know you. It's the first time we talked, but you seem pretty mellow. You seem like you have a good head on your shoulders. You seem very mature for your age.
Yeah. Well, I just, my whole purview is I always just try to live how I would want others to treat others, how I would want to be treated. It's a very simplistic, it's very simplistic, but very impactful in terms of how you live your life. I don't want to be mean-spirited. Now, I am an aggressive person, right? So if you ask me something in terms of what I believe, especially if you start getting really deep into it, and I know the dark aspects of my nature, I can be vengeful and spiteful. I think in terms to grow in your faith, you have to understand the dark aspects of yourself. And those are just things I have. I can be vengeful, and I can lead to anger if I let it control me. But in understanding that, it's like, okay, well, if I can use those aspects, right, not necessarily just living in them, but understand what those aspects are and let Christ transform me, then that'll make me the better man. That'll make me the man that God is calling me out to be. And that's just how I try to live my life and engage with people. Now, I'll be honest, and this is going to be me for the rest of my life. You say something stupid, or if you come across to me, I'm not going to be initially nice, kind with you, because at some point in time, it's like, okay, why did you act like that? Now I got to get you.
Yeah, no, I get that, and I'm that way in a lot of regards as well. So one thing I'm not clear on is, how long have you been aware of this subject before this debate?
For Gematria?
Yeah.
Again, right around I think the jabby jab. I think it was probably right around then, a little after that. Actually, a cousin of mine, he was the one, I would see a lot of his posts on Facebook, and they were right-leaning, but it wasn't just it was right-leaning. It was to the point to where it's like it logically makes sense in terms of how a man is supposed to think, like through situations, right? So, for example, I saw there was this one viral post on Facebook. It was the 2020 election. There's a lot of viral posts, but this one was a little kid that was selling lemonade for Trump. In my mind, I'm like, okay, his parents probably put him up to this, obviously, because he's a little kid. He doesn't know any better. But then you see grown men and women in the comments saying, I would throw rocks at this kid. I'm like, why would you attack a child for the foundations, for one, that the parents laid, and two, why would you want to attack any of them just because they're voting for a candidate that you don't agree with, or they have a potentially a worldview that you don't agree with? And my cousin, he would constantly like lay those points out, and I was like, it just something in my head, I don't know what it was, it just clicked, and then I kind of realized that I've always somewhat thought like this. I just didn't have the means to really, I guess you could say, or the environment around me to really help me along that path. But in terms of gematria or how things are, if I would have had, like, say, if I would have met someone like you when I was 13 to 15 years old and you would talk to me about that, I wouldn't turn it down. Because I never really once thought, God, my thing is like, okay, if I believe in an omniscient, omnipotent God, there are so many things underneath the horizon that could, or past the horizon that could be true, that I just don't know. So I leave all things open. And then at that point, whatever information is brought to me, I can research it and have people help me along with that path to see that it is true. Right. And I truly believe that hell will not prevail against the church. So if I really need help along this path, I think I can rely on the church in that regard. That's just how my mind has always worked. It's like, you kind of think of Assassin's Creed, nothing is true, everything is permitted, right? I don't hold to that doctrine like, just succinctly, but it's just to the point to where there's so many avenues of knowledge that can be breached or that can be absorbed that you shouldn't just leave it to the wayside. I think you should try to hear something out. And if you can debunk it or you can deconstruct those worldviews, then at least you've done it with a basis of knowledge that you've had, but also what you learn from that. And here's the thing. Let's just say someone does deconstruct your worldview from gematria. Does that mean they can't learn something from it also, that there are these people who are looking to manipulate you through so many other fields that you, like, even from the books you read, childhood books you read that are psyops in terms of how the world is trying to be constructed around you? Even if your worldview was deconstructed, you could still say, well, you know what? There's these certain books I just don't want to reach my daughter because I know what the message is trying to convey. And those messages have power. You see what I mean? So even if you deconstruct something, you can learn from it. Even if you're wrong about your worldview, you can still learn from what you previously had. You know what I mean? So it's like even in failure, you can succeed. And that's just how I've always seen it.
Sure. I like what you said, and that it's a hard thing for people to allow their worldview to be deconstructed. It attacks the ego, and people do not want that to happen, and it can be uncomfortable. But the reality is, if your worldview that you subscribe to is not correct, it could actually be harmful to your existence.
Yep.
If you're somebody who blindly trusts authority, you might not be breathing anymore. You might have got the short stick, as some people did, from what just happened 4 or 5 years ago. Or you might have
the pokey poke. Yeah.
My mom's neighbor, 17-year-old old in high school, his girlfriend dropped dead. A 17-year-old. I mean, I never heard about anything.
But that's normal. That's normal, right? That's normal. That's just supposed to happen. And I'm not laughing.
It's not like that happened to everybody, but there was several stories like that in this time, and nobody had ever heard of anything like that before.
No, or you think of the couple that said, when there was I think a parent-teacher meeting, and I think they were required to take the shot to bring their kids to school. I forgot what the story was, but this couple said, you know what, we'll take the shot to prove that nothing's going to happen to us. They ended up dying shortly after they took the shot. And it's just.
My neighbors next door are the same age as me. I'm in my early 40s, and they both have heart problems now, and they think it's from the shots. They didn't have these problems, and then they emerged within a year of getting the shots.
Well, I think it was in Korea where they even put on the warning labels that myocarditis could be a side effect. So. And at that point,
Johnson & Johnson one at first because it was causing clots, and then they made it seem like the other ones wouldn't. And again, and the sad thing is we live in this world where they censored us for calling out these things and made us the bad guys. And like, even on that panel, I had to make the point. I don't know if you're watching, but they're getting so worried because I said a word or the name of a place, and they got so annoyed. And I'm like, see, guys, this is what they've done to us as a society. The only thing we're valuing is our money and our views, and we don't even care about the tyranny and the lies, and we're self-censoring. If everybody would just say F it and just speak freely, they wouldn't be able to censor everybody.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, you can't get rid of everyone because you need a platform, so like the more you capitulate to the Nazi. Now, what do you want to do? Do you want to lose 20 channels but to remain faithful to the truth? Or do you want to self-censor yourself for profit? And when I saw what they were doing yesterday, I'm like, this is for money. You're doing this for money.
For the
I'm
love
telling
of money.
you.
That's what I mean. How can they be Christian? I don't think she claims to be. I don't know if she does, but he does.
Yeah, I don't think
he's here for money.
And the thing is, it's just what was the point I was trying to make? So yeah, they're doing that for profit, and it's just to a point. Oh yeah, this is the point I was gonna make. I think that was a humiliation ritual, Zach. I really do. Like, just based
there
on
was
how
something wrong, because you told me it wasn't going to go as long, and then it just kept going and going, and I didn't get to do my closing remark, and I didn't want to be the person to quit. So they're like, oh, we got him out of here. I didn't realize she was going to make that thing extend for so long. And the thing is, she told me it was going to be a shorter show tonight. So I'm just like, what is going on?
Yeah, like I think it was probably planned to be a shorter show, but once they realized they couldn't shut you down, it's like, again, oh, we can't shut him down. Let's make him look like an idiot. So that's the thing. Like, if you can't make what you perceive the fool to look like a fool, then you just get others to pile on in that sense. It's like, okay, like, well, if we get X amount of people to think that he's a fool, then, oh, we're vindicated, even though we didn't prove it, even though we didn't prove anything. Right. It's justification by the masses, which I think that was disgusting. That display last night, it was disgusting. And I'll be honest with you, maybe when I'm your age, because I got a few years to go, right? And maybe I'll have that mental fortitude, but right, I'll be honest with you, the open panel, and I understand why you did what you did, and I commend you for it. I'd have just left. Because it's one of those things. I don't care if I get embarrassed, but you're not going to make me look like a fool. And the thing is, here's the thing, right? Would you talk to people like that in real life?
Exactly.
And expect repercussions not to happen? Because I'm not saying you would do anything, but you do realize people will kill for a lot less.
Absolutely.
That's
the problem with the internet. See, you're younger, so you've grown up, and this has been the age. There was I grew up in the age where we were still allowed to have fights. Yeah, you'd get suspended for a day or two from school, but you learn to not run your mouth, especially to people who can whoop your ass, because you're going to get your ass whooped. And society has been ruined by this being taken away. People say there's no place for violence. I disagree.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Running your mouth is a lesson that everybody should endure.
And I kind of see like that messaging as part of the reason why I left the Protestant church, because they're just so milquetoast and soft in their approach. I'm like, you do realize, like, I mean, I understand you don't believe in Jesus, but just from the scriptures, just a man fashioned a whip and flipped over tables because they were basically money laundering in the temple. I'm like, and you got to think, like, when he was doing that, he wasn't just like, oh, guys, stop. No, he's probably screaming at the top of his lungs, snot coming down his nose, probably tears coming down his eyes because they're desecrating the house of God the Father. It's like, so when I kind of think of that, like, obviously you don't act like that all the time, but you have to have a steadfastness in your faith that you cannot be moved off your horse like that. And when I see the Protestant church, they're far too weak. And then I see what Andrew did. It's like, there's nothing but steadfastness. There's no gentleness. I didn't see any Christian love from that. Or Jimbob, I just saw ridicule. So it's like you have one extreme and then you have another extreme, and versus me. And this is I try to balance both. Obviously, I think just comes from the masculine perspective. I'm always going to be a bit rougher around the edges, especially just my personality. But as the older I get, I learn to incorporate more. I'm learning to incorporate more gentleness with my approach. Because you should have seen me in 2020, my Facebook post. I was coming after everybody, white, black. I didn't care what you were. It's like if you came across me negatively, I was coming with the knives. I probably wouldn't be that way anymore. But that being said, that comes with like learning over time. It's like, okay, there's certain approaches. If I want to reach people, I can't do that. Now, the fire and brimstone effect did work with some, because there'll be people who mention me, say, hey, keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm rocking with you. And it's, it's like, and you being black and holding some of the views that you do, because I don't behold myself in terms of, now I'm not like chaotic truth, right? But it's just a point, like I am more right leaning and I am more conservative in my beliefs. So there are some aspects to where it's like I'll look at, culturally, and I understand that black culture has been tampered with. I mean, I don't even have to get into that, right? I mean, just think of the number 42 in Gematria and what that's supposed to represent. Like, you made an entire numerical code about a group of people. That should tell you everything you need to know about it, right? But it's just to a point where it's like you have to admit, like, yes, we know as far as why we got here, but if you keep capitulating to this nonsense, we lose credibility as a people. And that's how my whole mindset was. Like, I'm not disacknowledging that these things are here. Maybe not to the degree, I won't agree to the degree that, like, for systemic racism, I think it's as deep as some other people will. But I understand, me as a black man, just culturally speaking, like I'm 6 foot, 240 pounds, big black man. And my wife is 5 foot white girl. Right. Okay. So even in that dynamic alone, I've seen like some white men look at me cross. Sure. It doesn't really bother me, because it's like, hey, listen, whatever you may think of me, or the stereotypes of black men putting their hands on their wives, which is not true. It's very much overblown. But it's just, whatever you think of that, it's like, I know I'm not doing it. So why does it matter?
I'm gonna ask you something, though. When you get these looks, is it people passing by, not like really in your proximity, but quickly passing by, and that's kind of how you get the look? Or how's this come about?
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's just sly, or if I'm in public, sometimes I'll randomly just say hello to people, just because again, I just feel as humanity has been lost in terms of the communicative aspect. Sometimes just say, hey, how you doing? But even sometimes when I'm with my wife, I'll look at people. Sometimes they'll look at me, and then I've seen some that look me up and down and just kept walking straight. Sure. It's like interesting. Maybe he's just a dick. Like, I don't hold everything to the purview of race, because if I do that, then I just have to argue that everything's racist versus the myriad of other possibilities that are.
It's not that everybody's racist. I think a lot of people are trolls too. When my dad got divorced from my mother, he got remarried to a black woman. Mm-hmm. And he was surprised. They like to go on walks. So when they could be going on walks, he'd be surprised at how many people would drive by and just say crazy shit to him out the window as they're driving by. Yeah. Like, just things like, what are you doing with that gorilla? Shit like that.
That's
disgusting. People aren't going to say that if they're walking by. But again, he got remarried in what year was it? Like probably 2003, kind of the start of the internet age. The same time,
5 years old. Think about that.
What's that?
I was 5 years old, 2003. Think about it's just funny if you say that.
This age, so that was like about the same time. The first time I played video games online, and I couldn't believe it. The first time I put on the headset to play a game, everyone's just calling each other the N-word. And I'm just like,
you know how many times I got called N-words, or people told me to go choke on watermelon seeds and stuff? See, but that's how I got good at roasting people. So I actually am a little bit grateful for that, because that's how I got good at roasting people. It's like, okay, well, I don't want to be called a monkey all day, so I gotta find some way to combat it. Made for them pretty interesting lobbies. So I will say, that's my lady walking in the background.
I don't know if she wants to be. My sweet lady doesn't want to be on the internet.
No, you're she's good. She's just going to get something.
Okay.
Oh, you're good, sweetie.
Yeah,
but yeah, that comment that you made in terms of how they were treating his wife. I mean, that's disgusting. That's truly disgusting.
This culture has been created from the internet, I feel like. And you really only see it, like, again, it wasn't having people do that when they're in the mall together, but just driving by in cars is where you kept seeing it happen. People yelling crazy stuff out the window. And he's just like, it just makes me sick. I just can't believe how many people do stuff like this. It's not like everybody was driving by doing that, but you're on a walk, like on average, every other walk, somebody's driving out the window yelling something crazy at you. So.
Yeah. I mean, but, and it's a shame that people act like that, and it's going to get to you eventually. But I think And especially just with me as a Christian, I stand fast with the faith, and I always believe that, God will never abandon me. So even in trying times, like, again, me being in the military and actively trying to get out because I'm just so disgusted. And once the veil is opened, or like the veil is taken off your eyes, you can't see things the same ever again. I can't see the military the same ever again. Now, I'll benefit from it because I do have medical issues, so I'll benefit from it. But I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful what it'll do for my family. But just the military in general, in terms of how I see things, it's not the same anymore. Just how I see reality, it's not the same anymore. And it's not a nihilistic viewpoint. It's just changed. You know what I mean? And I have to move appropriately because of that.
Sure. So here, hypothetical. I'm sure Pete Hegseth, did you see my work on his nomination and how he was picked on the Superior General's birthday and installed 38 days after the Pope's birthday? Did you see any of this?
I can't say that I have. No, I'm sorry.
Okay, so he has the Templar tattoos on his chest?
Yes, I do know that.
Okay, so in the middle of the Jesuit Order's logo is the Templar cross.
Mhm,
So the day
yes.
that he was picked, before he was confirmed, was on the Superior General's birthday, the leader of the Jesuits. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, how does that not correlate with I don't know how that doesn't correlate with people. Like, that's just coincidence.
Well, the first time that Trump picked his Secretary of Defense, the first time around, he got Mad Dog Mattis, and Mad Dog equals 44, and so does Mattis, and so does military and soldier and infantry and trooper and officer.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, so this time he's got 44-year-old Hegseth picked on the Superior General's birthday, and then he officially gets confirmed 38 days after the Pope's birthday when Pentagon equals 38.
38.
Like death,
Yeah.
like murder, like killing, like RIP. Here's what's messed up. There's a man I like to follow who has a small channel. He's a former military, and now he's retired, and he rants about being 50-some years old and still hasn't found a woman to get married to. But lately what he's into doing is traveling and just seeing parts of the world, and he went to Vietnam. He wanted to see the Vietnam War Memorial. And I don't know if you know this, but troops were first deployed to Vietnam on March 8th, 3/8, like death,
3/8.
killing, RIP, or 38.
Mhm.
But he gets there and he sees this thing at the War Memorial that he didn't even realize. There's a memorial in Vietnam about how disproportionate it was, how many black men were killed in terms of the people who died over there, because they were sent in to essentially the death missions.
Yeah, cannon fodder. Absolutely.
Yeah. Again, and to me, it's like when I share this knowledge, to me, it's so elementary. And I'm like, why wouldn't anybody want to share this? We're trying to expose evil. There's so many components to this evil that need to be exposed. Okay, so now you're in a situation because you did something when you were younger and you didn't have the same worldview. And I understand this. I'm sympathetic to your situation. What happens if they do start a larger war and you're getting deployed to the new crusades? How do you handle that right now in your own life?
And what I can say is I'm in a fortunate position. Well, I see it as fortunate. I always see the light in the darkness, right? I see a fortunate situation that because of my bodily injuries, I can't go over there.
Okay, well, that's good news.
I mean, I'm just serious. It's like I can't be of use in that regard. So that's something that kind of helps me. Now, for the average person, what I would say is like, okay, are you going to stand by your beliefs? And you do realize the penalties for you disobeying military orders. You're going to go to prison. Are you going to risk going to prison and standing by your beliefs, or are you going to turn against them and fight for this evil cabal that you hate and do these things that you hate and kill these people that aren't your enemy? They're the enemies of the state or the Jesuit state, but they're not your enemies. And you're just a cog in their machine. Do you really want to be that? That's where you have to make your stand. When I deployed to Afghanistan, and this was around the time I really just first started looking at your stuff, but I didn't really start getting as deep into it, but I even had to think to myself, no, thank goodness I didn't have to shoot at or kill anyone there. But it's just, what if I would have spilled blood in Afghanistan, killing someone, and it's thinking back on this knowledge, I would regret that for the rest of my life. It's like, what have I done? I just destroyed a being created in the image of God for these evil people who hate him, who hate God. And that's something I had to contend with the rest of my life. It's just to a point, other than just standing by the convictions and facing the penal consequences. Other than that, I'll be honest with you, Zach. I can't give you a more detailed answer than that.
No,
And that's
fair
something
enough.
that I think about all the time.
Fair enough. I think I'd be going through the same thought process you are. And a lot of people are going through a thought process like you. And a lot of people have been driven mad by the fact that they did spill blood and now they regret it because they see what it truly was. You have so many young people on the streets of America who are now homeless and have driven themselves crazy from drinking and drugs because they can't deal with this mentally.
Yeah.
And it's been going on since Vietnam.
Well, when you're called baby killers as soon as you come back, not realizing that everything that you had to do were based upon orders of the cabal state, of course it's going to drive you mad. You remember the movie, you remember Rambo, that scene where his general spoke to him, and Rambo, he was just basically listing all the things in terms of turmoils, not that he faced over there, but when he came back home. I'm like, these are your own people who are turning against you when everything that you did in your mind was for them. So it's going to drive people mad because it breaks you. It breaks you. And the human mind, the human mind can endure a lot, but the thing that the human mind can never endure is that if you do not have a sense of identity, and most importantly, community, you won't live, because humans were not made to be alone. We were made to be in a sense of community. So if you don't have community, and that's ultimately what happens, is that they'll go through so much stuff, but then once that community is taken away from them, that's when they break. And that's
the community is broken. I mean, some of those have a little community, but compared to our ancestors who had tribes and a big network around them, and the phrase "it takes a village to raise a child," almost nobody has anything like that anymore. You're lucky if you can have it in your family or know one of your neighbors.
I mean, just think of the connection I have with my dad. I mean, statistics in terms of Black single motherhood. I'll have Black friends who will disagree with some of my worldviews, and they'll say, well, you think like this because you're a minority of a minority, which I can't really contend with that so much. Maybe what they bring up with I can contend with, but the minority section, it's like I can't really contend with that because that is true. That is absolutely true. So I understand that my worldview is based off of a blessed position. Well, I think it's a normal position because dual parent households is the norm, but we don't live in a normal society anymore now, do we? So you think about that paradigm, right? But I understand more as far as why people were angry with me. I still hold to a majority of those beliefs, but I know how to come across it better with those that are discontent with what I say.
Mason, I've really appreciated this conversation. I'm glad you've come into our community. I was supposed to wrap this up, and our friend was waiting in the back room. I apologize that I kept you back there, D26, but I'd love to have this conversation more. I think this is an eye-opening conversation. I think a lot of people would resonate with it. I think a lot of people hearing your story is important because there's probably a lot of people in the world in a very similar situation to you. And
yeah, I mean, just think about this. Think about this, right? Black Orthodox Christian. How often do you hear that?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's when I go to Greek Orthodox parishes, and now they treat me as if I'm one of their own. Never have any problems. But I'm not going to sit here and act as if I'm not a big Black man with a white wife who's soon to have a mixed daughter that is going to be attending these parishes. That is just an objective truth. That is reality. Now, that's not going to deter, my faith. And based on how these people have treated me, and every parish that I've only been to two, but each parish that I've gone to, they've welcomed me with open arms, already made great friends, brothers that I will carry with the rest of my life. But again, that's part of my testimony that I think I could probably share with people in this community. Right? Maybe there is another Black Orthodox Christian male who's going through similar things as me. I don't know. Will it be likely? Probably not, but there's always one. In the law of averages, there's always going to be one, so if my message can just help one person, that's all I can do.
Sure. And I'm sure it will. Mason, I hope you come back on. And seriously, I do appreciate all your generosity, but when I see somebody donate that much, I always say, please don't donate anymore because you donate so much. Well, you're a young man with a baby on the way. These babies are expensive. So
yeah, I have a lot of extra money to burn. So it didn't really matter to me, but
invest it for your future.
Yeah, but yeah, I understand. I understand that. So it's just more so like I didn't really know how to communicate with you other than just probably dropping like little nuggets just so you could see. It's like, hey, I'm here. I'm not going to do that again because obviously now we have this conversation, and next time I come back, it's like, oh, I remember this is Mason from from so and so. So
If you got a bunch of messages to share to get my attention, you can just do a 99 cent. I'll definitely see that. That's more than enough. But seriously, you donate a lot, so I really appreciate it.
of course, and
All right,
best of luck to you. And I mean, even though I know you're not Christian, I'm still going to pray for you because again, I love you. I love everyone that I come across with, and I'm gonna gauge the life that Christ will want me to. So I
I
love
appreciate
you, man.
it. Just so you know, I mean, I pray too, and I'm a spiritual person, and I believe there's a creator. I just see us all as the children of God, and I think everybody should live the way Jesus did. Live by the
Yeah.
golden rule, pursue truth and justice, live in the service of others. I don't need the rest of the religious stigmas the way I see it, but maybe we'll have a conversation another time why you think the Orthodox Church is the way to go and what it does in your life. I wouldn't mind having that conversation.
Okay, and I'll be honest with you. I'm a baby in this faith, so there's a lot of things I have to learn. Not that I won't have the conversation with you, trust me, but just put that out there that I won't be able to answer every question for you. And if you are really curious about it, I would refer to a priest. They'll be able to explain a lot more than what I could. But I will do the best that I can to
Sure.
represent the faith
Well, I
properly.
would also like to hear from you.
Yeah.
You're very well spoken, and I find you very interesting, and I think we're like-minded in a lot of regards. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
again, it's been a
That's why I'm
pleasure,
here.
Mason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you have a great rest of your day with your family, and pretty soon you have a nice little beautiful daughter in your life, and I think you're gonna really enjoy it. So,
I pray that you do as well, and many more to come if that's what you want.
the plan is 3. We'll see. We'll see.
That's
Hey, you're
kind of
starting at the right age. I'll tell you that much. I wish I would have started when I was your age, man. You're doing the right thing.
yeah. I didn't want to be an older father.
Exactly. Grandpa dad. Grandpa dad. Oh. All right,
But
Mason.
you have a blessed day, and I'll see you later.
All right, take care. All right, and sorry I kept you in the backstage, D26. Go ahead, Fred.
No worries.
What you
Thank
do over here?
you.
I'm not sleeping. So
I know. I just completed my meeting. I was in a meeting before when you started the stream. I completed the meeting and still I was over here. Anyways, I was just like, to be honest, I was tired to be in the back room for like the entire day. In the previous live stream, which you were on as a guest, over there, I think I was in the back room for 1 hour. I waited to join for another hour. So it's like I was tired. So I just that's why I just like kind of like I was pissed off. Like I had to text her. I've been inside of even in this stream. I've been in the back room for almost an hour.
sorry,
But anyways, I was
D26.
working the no problem. I don't want you to be apologized. I just want to say that. Anyways, I was doing my work in the background. I didn't notice that I was still on the backstage, but it was nice to see that the gentleman was a good person who came before me. His name I don't know. What was his name? I didn't get his name. I joined the stream late, I think.
His name was Mason.
Okay, I don't know. Mason is Mason name or is Mason?
Oh, yeah,
as
it's a
what we
pretty
call it
common
as-
name, really. There's a lot of Masons. Yeah, I grew up with a Mason. He likes to
Okay.
skateboard.
So, regarding the previous live streams, I don't know. To be honest, kudos to you. You have so much patience to be around those people.
It was idiotic, really. D26. I should have signed off. It was not worth the time.
Yeah, I think it went almost 10 hours, and it also abrupt and like it was ended abruptly. That's what I caught at the very end. Even I was supposed to go to the gym and not to be in that live stream, but something happened with my file that I was working on, and that got crashed, and I had to cancel my plans, and that's why I just stayed at home. Went back to working, and then I came back on the stream. Still, I saw there was no progress. I was saying, not a single person ready to listen, to put their egos aside.
It was a total waste of
And-
time, D26. It was terrible.
Yeah, but I would just give you as a suggestion. I think you have also agreed. You have also understood that by now. It's just that what all the people tell me in real life, like that I have learned this one thing that most men don't understand, probably by their middle life, which is to be patient and not to just to control your anger and just not to get pissed off, even if the other person is an idiot. To be honest. No, just don't avoid losing your cool, and that will take you much farther in life. And that's what people have told me, and that's what I say to other people. Nothing that I never said that I never disagree with you, but yes, if you or anyone, not just you, I'm just saying anyone from this community, if you start regurgitating or just like start cussing like the others who are new to this knowledge, who don't know anything about this knowledge, you are giving them a way, or just you're giving them a heads up, like an upper ground, a higher ground to attack on you, that we don't have calm. That's why we're just like, we are desperate to to confirm what we are saying. That is not the truth. Just to be calm, that will be better. That's what I've like, and I can say, I'm saying this from my experience. I've never cussed in the last, what, it's since 2017, so it's 8 years now.
Very good.
I completed high school in 2017 May, and since, I think I would say since 2017 January, I've never cussed a word to anyone, not even in chat, not even verbally, not even my thoughts. Yes, I do have thoughts like hurting anyone, but I've never have that thing of like to cuss anyone, because it doesn't need to be. That's not. It's very ugly. It's very silly. It's very childish. I did see some people in your live stream, in your channel. I don't know if you were reading the chat regularly. They were saying all nasty stuff to other guests on that panel. There's no need, to be honest. I know people might be mad, but again, just keep it to yourself. Don't spur out bad words. And I'm not here just to preach all the goody and be lovey-dovey. No, not that person. I'm a person who had anger management issues when I was a young kid. I would say a teenager, and over time, uh, I have learned to stay calm and handle things in a more efficient way, rather than just hulking out all the time.
D26, you're like a wise 80-year-old man in a 20-year-old's body. You're an amazing person. So
That's what people kind of tease me, like I'm an old man already.
yeah, you are, but it's a good thing. So
Yeah. But I do have few things that I wanted to mention. Like, I don't mind if you want to talk, like if you want to mention about me, and whenever we go on these kind of guest trial streams, if it is worth mentioning
well, I
about
didn't want
me
to
or
bring up
anyone
what we talked
else.
about off the record, but it seems that you've had second thoughts about that since you're here. So
No. I just want to clear a few things over here. That I don't want you to talk about anything else. You can just bring up the topic that you have a person who's not from America, who is not from this culture, and you can just say, you can just mention that, you can, or if you don't want to mention about me, you can just mention about my channel. That's it. I'm not posting anything new. All the content that was there for 2 years ago, it's still there. It's just that if you do mention about me, let me know so that I can check, and I can also possibly, if I'm available, I can join the stream like today, because I think you guys went so late that it was, I think I joined before my lunch. I had my lunch. Went back to working. Yeah, even after working, you guys were still on the chat. Even after taking a shower, you still went on with the live stream. So I was available the whole time. It was just that the studio was full the whole time whenever I was trying to join in. But
I've
you can
been
bring up
sitting
your
in
top
this chair
topics.
since 6:15 p.m. yesterday. So it's now approaching 16 hours, which is not healthy.
Oh, I've been through that. I still remember, because I'm doing animations. I told you, those take those take way too longer, and it's not really good, even at your age, to be seated this long continuously. So I would prefer try not to go more than few hours on a live stream, even if it's a guest live stream. It's not worth it.
It's not. And that's also why I said I had to wrap this one up a while ago, but I'm going to have to forget the nap because I got something to do pretty soon. But
And before I leave, I'll just like, I will not interrupt you. I had few things that I think I was gonna just go through those topics. I'll not say, I'll just the few topics that I wanted to bring if I had joined the previous live stream, and if next time you go on some other live stream, and if I can join, I will be bring up these topics. Someone mentioned about 201 in that they were like people, mostly the people on the panel, were, I think, discrediting or laughing at the 201 connections. If that's what they really don't understand the correlation. I think the one which I had brought up on this very channel about a couple of years ago, which was the 201 connection with the inauguration of the President of the United States, how that is connected to the Independence Day, and how the previous date, which was March 4th, is connected with the Jesuit birthday. And what is also interesting is that the Jesuit birthday is also the Independence Day of India, and 201 days before that, it is the Republic Day, and the official name for India is the Republic of India, just like the official name of Israel is the State of Israel, which is 201. And why the country India is also important? India is the largest democracy, US is the oldest democracy. Another topic that I was going to bring, okay, and just because we were talking about India, the Indian president, not the current one, the one before the current, the previous president, I have not mentioned about him. I think I probably posted it and that got deleted because of some, I don't know, something on Twitter. It got deleted. I did post that. It was about the previous president. His name was 201, and he did he won the election on 201st day of the year in 2017, right after Trump became president in 2017. And the official name, the president of India, equals 201.
Yeah.
And another thing that Georgetown. Did you bring up in the entire stream? Did you bring up about Georgetown's quote, the motto?
Both into one.
Yep.
It did come up in the debate. Yeah.
That could have. I don't know if even people don't understand that. That is, I think, that's below room temperature IQ level.
I think the response it got was, "So what? I got 2 balls and 1 dick." I think that was the response it got.
Maybe that's where their brain is located. So
Right.
that's and another thing. Oh, I think mentioned about CERN. If you remember, long ago, I think back in 2022, I mentioned about the. Remember, there's a Shiva statue in CERN compound.
You're right.
And I mentioned about something, and you did also search this on this. You brought this up on your own screen. This is back in like Wednesday night shows, like I think during those times. The Department of Atomic Energy, Government of India. That's the whole name. That equals 496 and 992.
Perfect number.
Hear me out. 992 is a perfect number. 496 is the 31st triangular number. Shiva equals 31. And Shiva, the statue has a quote, or basically a Sanskrit verse of a devotional hymn from which is in Sanskrit, and that is the 56th verse. Coincidence of the number 56?
You know the image.
They could have gone with 59. They could have gone with 59 because Shiva equals 59. But no, they went with 56.
Yeah.
But, and also just a random thing regarding CERN. Everyone, I think most people in the community knows about what CERN is trying to do. I mean, we're not talking about fictional, but yes, they have stated officially that they are looking for other dimensions. I think that was the old report. I think the only report that I have is just from 2009 or 2010 that says that they're looking for extra dimensions, and extra dimensions equals 216. That is the cube of 666.
Right.
I was going to bring up these topics. That's just, I know these are loose-ended, but yeah, I was also going to mention about the Pope. But I think someone did when I was on the live stream, and I did see the response was pretty bad.
The Pope, for people who have missed it, what the Pope, Mr. 201 himself, is sick from, the official thing is polymicrobial respiratory tract infection, which equates to 201. So.
Oh, it does it. Let me check that. Could you go with again?
If you go to my website, you'll see it. I can put it up on the screen right now, real quick. It equals 201 and 231. like Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits.
I will have to check if that has to do anything with the DNA, because DNA's full form equals to 1 as well.
There it is right there.
Nucleic acid. Polymicrobial. I don't think so. No, that's not DNA related, but yeah, that's microbe related. Polymicrobial respiratory tract infection. It's interesting that he's also getting respiratory related illness after all this thing. Imagine him just like taking the bucket because of the common flu, the common cold. But yeah, that's what I won't go beyond this. I see others are in the chat as well in the room. If they want to if they want to speak anything else, I'll not stop them. I'll just be in the background, and probably if I have any closing thoughts, I will probably.
Okay. Yeah. If you guys can all get your thoughts out here as efficiently as possible, I do got to do a few things and then be somewhere, and time is a ticking. Bikes and Bullets, then Evan, then Rock E. That's the order you guys came in. Bikes and Bullets, you're up. Thank you for your patience.
Mr. Hubbard, I want to say thank you for your composure and your maturity through those chats. I've been following you for a long time, and I've always been fascinated by this. The world we live in is full of mentally undeveloped children that masquerade as adults. And it was very apparent for those with eyes to see my short 53 years on this planet and my background. It used to be reading people on the job, but it's very, very apparent to see what was happening, the fear in the body language when something would be exposed or talked about that was good information. You could see it. All they could do was ridicule, literally like a classroom full of kindergartners. Anyways, I just stopped in to say, hey, man, I've been following you for quite a few years, and I'm fascinated by your work. It's good stuff. And again, your composure and your, believe it or not, bravery for stepping into a pit of vipers like that. You're to be commended. And by the way, congratulations on being a daddy. Good stuff. Keep doing what you're doing. And those that follow this stuff, it's everywhere around you. Anyways, I just wanted to stop in and say, hey, thanks for what you do, man. And be well out there and keep doing what you're doing. That's
Appreciate
it.
that. Thank you for stopping in. Yeah, thank you for the compliments. I don't know if you ever stopped in before, so it's good to hear your voice.
I did once before. I even asked you about a date that was personal to me, and I don't think you ever really broke it down. These things, once you see them, you cannot unsee them with these numbers.
If you want to email me, GematriaEffectNews@gmail.com with what you wanted me to look into, I'll look for that email. Later today, I have to be in an appointment. I'll have some downtime there. So if you want to shoot me that email now, I'll check it out when I go to where I got to go.
Message for everybody that doesn't really know out there, or your situational awareness. When people overtalk each other and ridicule each other, they've lost. They've completely lost. And it's a sign of weakness, fear, and grasping. So, Mr. Hubbard, have a great day. Everybody else in the chat, have a great day.
Thank you so much. You have a good day too. Thank you. All right, Bikes and Bullets. It's Evan, then Rocky, and then Plain Decoded.
Yeah, I just listening to that debate last night, or debate with quotation marks, really. I just remember, like, as a kid in math class in like middle school and high school, what did the teacher always ask us to do? They asked us to prove our work, even in like 9th grade geometry, when we had to write proofs. Like, we all hated doing it, but we had to do it to show how we got the right answer. And that's what you were doing that last night. You were showing your work, showing your proof but they wanted to be the lazy student and just like know the answer. But that's not how this works. And
right. And the topic was, how was the knowledge useful? If I'm just throwing out predictions with no explanation, who's learning anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that they just weren't interested in learning, but I guess that's today's world. Yeah, and I also
you made a great point last night, Evan. I know you stopped in there for a second and you laid it down with a great analogy. I was impressed with it. I thought it was well articulated.
And I'd been thinking about that one for quite some time, and I was like almost asleep by the time I said it, so I probably could have said it a little bit better, but I think I did get the point across. And I also, in the private chat here, I posted a link to a Reddit thread, how like even Christians themselves don't like this Andrew Wilson guy. So
yeah, because he's not a Christian.
Yeah. And also, one last thing before I head out. I know you've talked about in the past, like Houston and 112. Obviously, that's a big connection. But you've also mentioned a couple of things with Houston and 113, and because I think they won the 113th World Series. And just the other day, I did a road trip down to the site where like Texas declared independence from Mexico, and I found that there's a lot more with Texas and 113, which I guess I can talk about later.
Well, it kind of makes sense, right? Because it's the 30th prime number, and Texas does have that gematria 30. And
right. Yeah, no,
yeah.
I think the first ever Super Bowl that was in the state of Texas was on January 13th, and the guy who's known as the father of Texas, Stephen F. Austin, he was born on November 3rd. But yeah, there's more to it, but yeah, no, that thing last night is kind of a waste of time listening to, but I'm glad you stuck through it.
Yeah, it was terrible. But hey, I liked when you came on and the analogy drop. That was well done. You should do that one again.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
You guys
All
have
right,
a
take
good
care,
rest
Evan.
of the day.
All right, see you, buddy. Rocky.
Yeah, hey, thanks. It's nice to meet you yesterday or last night or whatever.
Was that you in the after hours chat, if you will, that kept going
Yeah.
after the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you as well. Thanks for coming back on.
Yeah, I subbed to your channel.
Thank you.
I knew there was gematria. I just didn't know there was someone who could understand it so well, and I'm glad to meet you. And there's other ways to see these people and what they're doing, but I'm glad that there's another tool we can use, like T minus liftoff. You add a T to NASA's Satan, so they got their other ways to do shit. They're lifting off these.
Just for the record, NASA's logo has like the serpent's tongue in it, and if you look up the full name of NASA, what it actually stands for, and run the gematria in the calculator, you'll see that it equates to 666. So.
Oh, damn! Some more stuff. Well, I don't know what you think about the flat Earth, but I'm a flat earther. I think they've been hiding our cosmology and shit with this spinning ball, evolution, Big Bang theory. And you might not get into that, but I think the Jesuits started that too in order to hide the truth of our cosmology. Trying to hide God, say he's a long ways away and he's billions and billions of miles away. So
You know what? Today's the day I'm going to stop fighting with flat earthers. I personally am not real fond of the flat earth movement because it's full of trolls and just people that will attack you and call you all kinds of names if you don't agree with them. I didn't start out hostile towards the flat earth movement, but people know me to not be very nice to flat earthers. And that's because I got fed up with all the badgering and the accusations, which are completely false. Like I said, though, I appreciate that people are questioning things. I tend to not agree with flat earth, but I did have a nice conversation with you last night, and I know I like you, and we're in agreement on a lot of other things. So you know what? Today I'm just done giving flat earthers a hard time. Go ahead, Rocky.
yeah, I don't. It's not salvational issue or nothing like that, but it's just another. To me, it's just another one of their deceptions. It was created by the Jesuits to overthrow the Reformation, to make the Bible look stupid, because the Bible's definitely a flat Earth book. And yeah, I'm not trying to sway anybody into becoming one. And I know there's a lot of shills in the organ. It's like they've been planted to make it look stupid. And but I really appreciate your gematria stuff. I know that
Agreed.
it's been used.
And again, just you're new to me, so you don't know me, but flat earthers, a lot of them hate my guts because I have been pretty mean to flat earthers for almost a decade now, but I did not throw the first stones, and I had a lot of stones thrown before I started saying things back. But ultimately, I know it has pushed some good people away. And from talking to you last night, we had a very good conversation, and I do agree with you on a lot more than, again, our one disagreement might be the shape of the earth, which at the end of the day, I guess isn't really that big of a deal. So,
yeah. All right. Well, it's nice meeting you. I got some things to do too. I got a little nap at least, so.
That's what I'm trying to do. I don't have time to do it anymore, so it's okay. I'll survive. Well, hey, thank you for subscribing, and good to meet you, Rocky, and I did enjoy our conversation last night.
Okay. See
All
ya.
right.
Peace.
All right. Take care. All right. And Plain Decoded. Let me unmute you. All right, Plain Decoded. It's you.
Hey. Yeah, man. It was rough to watch.
Uh-oh. You cut out. What'd you say?
Dude. Like, can you hear
Well, it's kind of going in
me
and
okay?
out. You said D26 while he's trying to get his connection right. You
Hold
got
on.
anything else to say?
Hello, can you hear me good now?
Oh, now I hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Okay, so if I'm clipping, just cut me off because I don't want to talk if I'm clipping. But so it was rough to watch. I couldn't watch. I watched the first 2 hours of it, and
That was a long time to watch.
Well, I was also watching hockey at the same time.
Oh, there you go.
So,
hey, that's how you do it.
yeah. So like, I don't think you did a very good job, dude. Like, us in the community like that know you, we can follow, right? But
Oh, he cut out again.
from what I saw, it was you're going too complicated right off the bat. Can you hear me?
Well, you're cutting in and out, but I heard the too complicated part.
Can't be heard. Like, okay, I don't know if you can hear me. I can't see it. I don't think you can hear me. Can't hear me.
Well, didn't I start off with a really simple example of 666 and what they did with the scandemic?
Okay, I think I'm back. If I clip again, I'm just going to leave.
Okay.
So your flow consciousness is like you go right to the Jesuits. You just got to hold them to task on like A is 1, because that's where you're losing them.
I don't think I went right to the Jesuits though. Didn't I start with 666 and the scandemic?
Yeah, but they don't even have they don't get that A is 1. They think that's arbitrary. A is 1 is not arbitrary. That's pretty obvious. So like if you could first hold them to that, like admit that A is 1. And why? Well, it's the first in the order. Aleph is even in the Bible. Alpha is the first and the last, right? So Aleph and then alphabet. A is the beginning, right? So A is 1, God is 1, right? That makes sense. Then going to Jesuits, because I actually don't agree with your conclusions a lot of the time, but gematria itself, like the practice of numbers being coded in words, is undeniable. And did you bring up the bridge collapse to them?
Couldn't get to it.
Because that one's
did
undeniable.
you watch how it went? It was just in nonstop interruptions and changing it to this. And the plan was to just go through 666 with a lot of recent events. But again, he just kept going to things, and how much time did he waste when I was trying to explain the 666 days from RFK Jr. announcing his candidacy to arriving at his confirmed position as the Secretary of Health? Did you watch that part? It took him 20 minutes to distinguish why his speech date was important, because he was saying things like, well, how do you know there wasn't some other date where he got the idea to run? It's like, dude, that's not what goes in the historic.
So that's a red herring. So you told him why, and then he's changing the subject. You just had to hold to your point because you already made it, and then just say
you
it
try to
again.
hold to your point, but he just keeps coming up with something else stupid to say. It's annoying, man. That's why it just needs to be a real moderator, and then you just say, "Shut up, Andrew," so he can finish the point, and then you can say whatever you want about it.
Yeah, I was wanting to get on because, like, what I would have said there is it's significant because that's the day he made an announcement. Like, you're 1 year. That guy, like, when you turn 1 year old, it's arbitrary too. It's based on the sun, but it's significant to people because it's like a mass understanding, right? It's when someone says something like to a mass audience, it's important because it's significant. And if he doesn't get that's fine. But he's saying why not the other day? Like, why when he was considering it? Well, because it went into everyone's mass consciousness. Like, the most amount of people figured out that he was going to do that day, right? And it doesn't matter if he doesn't get it. At that point, you already made your point, and you can just reiterate it. You don't. My criticism is that then you go on, and then you're saying, like, 66 books in the Bible, 60. Like, no, they can't go to that because they're still stuck on the first thing. So once that point is finished,
as Christians, I would expect them to get it. I thought it was all very elementary.
Yeah, but you're already on. They still need to be at 1 + 1, and you're on, like, calculus.
They're supposedly Christians. I mean, Christians know about Revelation 13. They're supposed to know how many books are in the Bible. So,
yeah, but they're telling you that there's other Bibles with different things. The Protestant is important.
Christians know that. Christians know that there's other Bibles, and they're aware of those other Bibles and the differences. Last time I checked.
Yeah. So, but go, like, just say your point and then let them look dumb after, because you keep going on. You kept talking and talking, right? And they criticize that too. But just say your point, allow it to, like, rest, and then let them think it's dumb or whatever. But then you already solidified it, and they know what that is. So then you can go on to your next thing, because they're going to bring you back to task, because he was doing that. He was like, okay, so why did you say 66 books? I already told you, and here's why. It's because it's one of the most prominent books, right? And then they're like, well, why not the other Orthodox? I already told you. Okay, let's move on. Can we move on? And then once they understand, they're sending you on red herrings, is what it's called. So if you look into the red herring fallacy, and then also they're poisoning the well. So look into that fallacy too. They're poisoning the well while you're talking. Like, for example, Jimbob was doing that 33 and looking around and putting, like, a Power Ranger. That's called poisoning the well. That's a fallacy as well. So just knowing your fallacies and calling them out on it is going to be really helpful if you go on there again. And then if it was me, if I can get on, I'm just going to be like, listen, look at this. Just tell me if you think this is interesting or not. The bridge hits the boat hits the bridge at 128. Bridge in the very simplest cipher that most people can understand, because it just goes in order. Bridge collapse equals 128. Is this interesting to you or not? Because that's, if you're just a layperson, like, that should just be at least interesting, right?
Not to them. I mean, we did a lot of that with Jimbob, and none of that registered with their brain.
Yeah. What's up, Zach?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Yeah, I tried to help you a little bit last night, but it was too much chaos. And like I was starting to say, they didn't want to understand. Like I said, I think they just held that stream just to try to harp on you, because even when you make good points, it didn't matter. It was like a personal attack, basically. I don't even feel like they cared about Gematria. They just wanted to attack you and your character. But I also think that comes from because you're like sure of what you're saying. You're a confident person when you talk, and you don't back down from people. You know what I mean? And you have good points. So the only way they can try to come back at you is to insult you. That was ridiculous. Because I think I got in at, like, I don't know what happened, but I woke up like 2 a.m. and it was on. I seen you were streaming earlier, like early in the day, and I woke up at like 2 a.m. and it was on. So I just cut it on. And then I was just watching till like maybe like 8. I watched the whole thing pretty much. But yeah, I mean, and like I was saying, it's like, I don't think they didn't want to know. Like, if they believe in lizard people and all types of other stuff, how can you not believe in something like numbers that's already used to control your life in every aspect is being used to do sinister stuff? And even I try to tell people around me about gematria. Some people they just don't understand how numbers can be that significant. I think it's because it's not something that's physical. You know what I mean? So just like with inflation and stuff. So people don't understand inflation because it's not physical. But then when you explain it, we're like, okay, well, you have to break it down in simpler form. Well, okay, you still have 100,000 in your bank account, but when you go out to use 100,000 in the real world, it's only going to be worth like 80 or 70. And it does take a smart person to recognize this. That's why it's even if it's as simple as numbers, because of the pattern recognition, you know what I mean, and being able to think outside the box. Like, because like I said, I've been following you since Kobe. I met you when we were in New York. I was the guy that had the dreads, the tall one that had the dreads or whatever. But
you're taller, aren't you? Taller guy.
Yeah.
No, I remember you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Thanks for coming out, by the way.
Yeah, no problem. I couldn't wait to go. I was happy. I'm glad I got to meet you in person. But
Can I
yeah,
say
even
one more
like
thing? I gotta go. I just want to say one more thing. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
When they were asking for predictions, Zach, I would have said to them, like, okay, like for world events, I can't sit here and make a prediction. Like I could, but we're gonna have to sit here for a long time. There's gonna be like, I gotta scour headlines, I gotta gather a bunch of data, and like really think about this and put it down and get a good idea. The reason why we use sports is because
I did give him a prediction last night based on something I've been looking at and talking about for years, going with the Grover Cleveland return to Trump. And I gave him an idea how that could play out. And then he wanted to be like, so that's exactly how it's going to be. I'm like, listen, this isn't like a psychic thing. I'm saying how they operate. So I feel like you could see a headline like that, perhaps 47 weeks into his presidency, that 4.7 million jobs have been lost because of tariffs.
Yeah, I saw that. But the reason that sports is good is because the data.
He didn't want a sports prediction. I was trying to tell him about March Madness and what I think. He's like, I don't want March Madness. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I get that. But the reason why sports is usable is because it's a data set that is also within a container.
And I got that happened later in the stream. I explained to him why I can predict basketball games like the Indiana upset of Purdue, but not the lottery.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, if you did say that, that's a good thing to say for sure. But yeah, I actually hope you go on again and like just brush up on. I would talk to.
I'm not going on there again. That's just a panel of trolls.
Yeah, I definitely.
But if you could, then go on earlier because all your followers are probably sleeping. I think they're East Coasters mostly. I couldn't. I was on the West Coast.
That's when she does her show. I can't. That's the way they do it on there. I just need a actual better debate channel. She's not adequate.
Yeah, they were terrible, and they were biased, especially her. It was too much, and then you couldn't even talk. They keep talking like you just couldn't even talk. As soon as you try to talk, they start yelling and screaming. Like that.
Well, good job. Good job for what you
that
did. You had
the
balls,
state-
so that was great. Great job for sticking in there, anyways, and
Yeah.
dealing with those people. That would have like made me irate. So
Well,
good
again,
job
what
with
you
that.
told me to do, it's not like I'm in disagreement, but I mean, that's pretty much what I did with Jimbob, and that didn't work. So I was like, well, here, let's tailor it to the Bible and Christianity, since that's what these people claim to be. And then it turned out they didn't know anything about the Bible. So
Yeah, Jimbob was just a hand wave dismiss guy. Like he didn't even attempt to like talk about anything. So, anyways,
neither
yeah,
did Andrew.
I let it go.
All right, let him in. I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to end this stream. Carrick, did you want to say more? And then we got Ryan, and then we got
what
the
it do?
machine lies.
Yo, I found your work when I was in like school, and bro, it was so when you talk about it, they don't understand because they can't visualize it, bro. But when you put everything you say and you write it down, it makes more sense.
It does.
They don't get that. They don't get that.
Yeah.
They couldn't see the connections. Like I said, it takes like you said, you have to
Takes a
explain it.
lot of
That's
time,
what's
bro.
annoying me too, because they're like, you keep going on and on. Like you have to go on and on because there's a
Had to.
connection that's connected to this, that's connected to that. Then it brings a full circle. It's like, and if it's only two connections, that makes your argument even weaker. When you want more than one connection to try to make it seem more concrete, it was just that was a waste. I mean, it was a waste of your time.
Yeah, that was
You
a time
tried, but
for
it
me.
was the way they weren't even. You couldn't even talk.
They wasn't
It was
even
just a waste
listening.
of your time.
They was just
And
yeah,
then
bro.
even the people in the comments, like even the people in the comments were just, it was crazy. I know people trolling stuff, but like I said, it's because it's you. If it was like everybody, they know who you are. Like I said, they've written articles about you. When you pull up Chat GPT, the fact that they even mention your name is crazy. And like I said, I know they're suppressing your views because I've gone to Vegas. I've been to Vegas 7 times. You know what I mean? Within like the past, and I randomly was talking to the first time I went. I met somebody. You know what I mean? And it was a dude that it was a black dude. Didn't know him from Adam. Was sitting at a craps table. You know what I mean? And he was playing hockey. And I'm like, what? I'm like, why are you? I'm like, why are you betting on hockey? I guess because he was black. So I'm like, black people don't bet on hockey or whatever. So I'm like, he's like, yeah, but I know they're gonna win. So I'm like, how? I'm like, how much? He said the numbers, something about the numbers. And I'm like, and then I started talking about Jude. I was like, yeah, it's this guy. I was like, what? I started getting excited. I'm like, it's this guy I follow named he does numbers, it's called Gematria. He was like, you talking about Zachary K. Hubbard? I swear my jaw almost hit the floor, bro. I'm like, it was like, yeah, everybody knows him. And you remember, this is from years ago. Like I said, they're just suppressing your views because you're the truth. And like,
That's
and
the only city I'm
Dang, I
not
was
in,
just gonna
though.
say something
Nobody
like that.
yeah,
recognizes
and
me
I'm
in any
not
city but
religious.
Vegas.
I'm spiritual, and like, and I guess my mom says I have like a gift because I can see through people's BS, and I always have been able to. So it's like when you say it and you make the connections, I can feel it like in my soul that it's really what's going on. You know, like, and then day after day, like I said, if somebody takes a year, not maybe not even a year, 6 months, because all the videos you were putting out, and I would tell people like, yo, this dude is putting out 10 videos a day. I mean, obviously you slowed down a little bit, but like during COVID and like up until now, I was like, you were pumping out, and I was so hard to keep up, but I would literally I had dedicated my life to watch all these videos because there was so much information. So I would literally just stay up and watch them and watch them. I'm like, after a year, like it's undeniable. Like it's no way. And I realized it's like 100 or so numbers that they use. You know what I mean? Over and over and over, maybe 200, but you know what I mean? They still all relate to the Catholic Church. And then I would tell people, okay, this number is similar, but if I put in my name, I put in this name, that has no relation. So, I mean, you know, you're the truth. People, everybody knows it. It's just people out there behind the scenes spreading just spread negativity. So like whenever somebody brings your name up, it's automatically associated with being a quack or being negative. And like I said, you're a strong-willed person, just the way your personality and your attitude. I guess because you grew up around black people, so you don't like back down from people, and you're smart. Like you can, like the stuff you says makes sense. So it's threatening. Threatening people are smart. I'm not a genius, but I'm smart compared to most people. So it's just threatening to them. And like you said, everybody wants to be the same. So being stupid now is what's cool. So if
Uh,
you're like, and people are really insecure, and the people have anxiety because of the social media and things like that. So every time they see somebody, even like I work, like I'm 35, but I work with a lot of younger people. You know what I mean? I work in the kitchen. I work 2 full-time jobs. So even then, it's like the dynamic is so crazy because I'm like the expo or the helm, which is pretty much the person who's in charge. I'm like, I need this, I need this, I need this, and I give it to people in the restaurant. I'm like the last line of defense before it goes out. So even then, like people will be missing stuff. They're missing food. You know what I mean? I'll ask politely. They'll get an attitude with me. It's like it's just stupid stuff. It's seriously. I'm like, yo, you're the one that's missing it. It's just I don't know. I think we need a different approach because the numbers. I mean, like I said, everybody in the community knows that the numbers are there, but it's not convincing enough for people because their minds are just too.
It
They're just
doesn't
not.
resonate with people. It
Yeah,
doesn't meet people where they're at for the
yeah,
average person.
and like you don't have to be super smart, but like I said, it takes repetition. After a year of seeing it, a slow person or somebody who's not as smart can see the patterns and see what's going on. I think
yeah,
it's
it don't
just
take
you.
a
You're
genius,
just
bro. It don't take a
it doesn't.
genius.
Like you
You
gotta
just
have
gotta know what's going on. You gotta have that eye of discernment. That's all. That's all it is.
yeah, and be open minded. And like I said, it's undeniable. I don't care what nobody says. I've been watching you for long enough, and it makes sense. Like I said, they use numbers because numbers don't change. You know what I mean?
They
You
don't
can
lie.
count on the number being the same 100 years from now. You know what I mean? You can't like you can't put that into the faith of a person because a person's gonna die. You know what I mean? If you say I need this person to do this 100 years from now, it's not possible. You know what I mean? Or it is if you go through their lineage, but the chances of it happening are, you know what I mean, less and less possible. But if you have somebody whose name, you know what I mean, falls into the right number, then the ritual still goes on. But that's all I
Absolutely.
really wanted to say. I wouldn't. You did good. It's just it was no point talking to
Yeah,
them. Like
it
it
was
really
no point.
wasn't. Like
It was
it
wasted,
really
bro.
wasn't. They were just. I feel like it was
That was
just a
bad.
personal attack against
That was
you.
bad, bro.
Yeah,
There
and
was
not
all
usually.
kinds of things that didn't make sense about it because she told me it was going to be a shorter stream and then it goes 10 hours. And I just didn't want to get off because I didn't want them to be like, oh, we bullied him out of
Yeah,
here.
that's
It
exactly
was
that's what they wanted. That's why they kept it going because they figured eventually you get tired, but they don't know that you can sit on stream 24 hours plus and do it. I guess they weren't ready for that. Is that?
it was one point in the stream where the moderator was reading super chats and she made a joke about, oh yeah, Zach, get him the crystal ball. It was like an inside joke.
Yeah.
It was so weird, bro. It was so weird,
Yeah,
bro.
and they were a little prejudiced. I think the Kobe Bryant thing triggered them too, because somebody had made. Because that's the first thing I was noticing. Like every time they bring up a black person, they get. I was trying to comment. Well, every time they bring up a black person, they get really upset and just. I'm like, they just low level. Their vibration is too low. There's like, I mean, they were just ignorant. But that's all I wanted to say. Appreciate it, Zach. I'll be watching you forever. Catch you later. That
Thanks
was
again,
wild.
man. Thanks
All
again.
right, see
Appreciate
you.
you.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got Ryan to finish up his thought, and the
What
machine
do?
lies, and then Green
So
Kid hopped on. You guys, I got nobody come on after Green Kid. I got to get off here, man. I've been sitting in this chair for over 16 hours.
so what I was gonna say was the reason they keep downplaying your work is because that's how they cope. They just coping, bro. They just coping, yo. You've been the best at your work and you've been getting the exact. It don't even matter if you've been predicting it. You still been exposing. You've been exposing what the fuck's been really going on. And it's really sad to see that people just downplay the work because it's right there. You don't even got you know what's crazy? You don't even gotta you don't crazy bro. I'm going off. But you don't even gotta explain it to these motherfuckers. You just gotta make them visualize it in some way or shape or form. And that, like how when you read it, bro, these people just gotta read. They haven't. I don't know what's going on. They probably ain't read in a long time. The cognitive dissonance is messing with them. So and all they can do to cope is make jokes, and it's really sad to see, bro. But another thing, when you get this knowledge, it's like with much knowledge, much grief, which is in the Bible. They don't understand that, bro.
Yeah, you're right on.
Appreciate your work, yo. I got both of your books on PDF. I'm gonna have to buy the paperback because I don't like the phone, the blue light and all. But Zach,
Sure.
take it easy, man. Take it easy, yo.
Good to hear from you,
Be
Ryan.
the truth,
You have a good day. Thank you.
sir.
All right, take care. All right, the machine lies.
Bro, blessings to the big homie Zachary Hubbard, man. You know, I think you did an excellent job in the debate. But yeah, it's like a lot of the people noticed, you know, and they're not even, you know, they have no, you know, philosophical background or training, right? And even then, they can pretty much tell, right, that you stepped into a dishonest contest. You know, you were not, you know, being heard by the other side, you know, and the other side is a bunch of fake Christians that are subservient to a foreign entity, you know, a church that's literally a fake church set up by Joseph Stalin, you know, who picked the Moscow Patriarchy. He literally installed the Moscow Patriarchy, right, which these people follow, right? And Andrew Wilson himself, he used to be a former Freemason. I mean, I don't know if people actually know this, right? And his wife, she actually admitted her family was like witches and stuff. You know, that's why she wrote this book, Occult Feminism, with their background and like witchcraft and all that type of stuff, right? And the Wicca cult, right? So it's just fascinating that, you know, they have a lot of ties to a bunch of people online that don't seem to be very Christian, you know, at all. You know, like, for example, like Sarah the Raging Tomato and Andrew Wilson's wife, they were both on Fox News. Isn't that a little strange? Like,
I had no idea about any of this.
yeah, how does somebody get on Fox News and like, you know, get on the top media stations, and like Jay Dyer is on like Alex Jones, the 4th hour of Alex Jones, it's totally fake, you know, controlled, you know, fake news program there, you know, and then, you know, also, he actually interviewed Alexander Dugin, you know, which is really strange. You know, like, how do they get, you know, access to these high level occultists and I get to have meetings with them, and you know, so I think the Orthodox Christian, and I actually had a one-on-one debate with Andrew Wilson, you know, and the topic was not about mysticism or theology or anything like that. It was just a simple debate about the collapse of technological society. Totally dishonest performance by this man. You know, he went back and forth between definitions. He claimed that you can control technology because you can pick up a hammer and use it. Totally retarded view, you know, that he had of technology. You know, technology is not just like tools. Nobody defines technology as tools. So I just think it was very dishonest performance. But yeah, you know, one-on-one performance, total sham. You know, and actually, he takes $600 to perform and take positions for his online performances. You know, he admitted to me, because I told him that I've been on your show twice. Why don't you come on my show? And he said it'll be $800 to perform on your show. And I said you made hundreds of dollars off me appearing on those debates. You know, you can't just show up for 10 minutes and just talk about philosophy and Christian nationalism and stuff. And he said, no, it'll be $800. You know, so the you know, the fact that he called you a shill or a grifter when he's one of the top receivers of donations online, you know, it's just
And
amazing.
it doesn't make sense. I saw him when his channel was small, and I was amazed the way money poured in. But now, saying how they have these connections to mainstream networks, it's all starting to make more sense. So
Yeah, but I wouldn't expect an honest performance there. You know, they had a debate the other day. This is the last thing I'll say. You know, they had a debate there the other day with Jimbob. You know, on I think the topic was is the belief in God rational, right? And of course, Jimbob used the transcendental argument for God, right? Tag, right? 4 hours and 20 minutes into the video, the lady Sarah, the Raging Tomato, asked the entire audience and the entire panel, "What is tag?" She didn't even know 4 hours into this what the transcendental argument for God was. She didn't know what tag even stood for. So that's what a great moderator Sarah is. And it's hard to believe, but she's absolutely unequipped for the task.
well, really good information. I wasn't aware of any of those things, actually. I guess I'd have to double check to make sure it's all true. But to me,
Oh
it
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
about
I have
right.
I have the receipts on all of it if you want. Blessings. But
If you
yeah,
didn't mind shooting it over to me, if you could send it to email GematriaEffectNews@gmail.com, I would love those receipts. Thank you.
yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
I
Yeah, sure. I'll
appreciate
go back in the video. I'll find some of that. As much as I can find, I'll send it over to you. Blessings.
Yeah, I had no idea how connected they were to the political machine, but it just makes way too much sense. All right, Machine Lies, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, my friend. Blessings.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
same
have
to
a great day now. Yeah.
We got Green Kid, and then we got Stillworks, and then I got to get out of here. Green Kid.
I'll try not to take up too much of your time, man. What's going on? So I found it really disingenuous. Just the fact that you were throwing out factoids out there, and he was trying to debunk them in real time. And I mean, once he said that you were wrong, I was like, no. I do my due diligence. I listen to you. I research then, and then I see if it's actually factual. And like, I'm not gonna say 100% of the time, but 99.9% of the time, you are correct. So that was my, like, I was gonna hop on, like, prove to him, like, look, dude, it's right here. Like, I used to be a medical assistant, so when he said that they only received 17 doses, like, no, bro, it's 72. You're a fucking moron. Doses are received at intervals, at certain intervals, at that, because the dose could be so significantly strong that it could affect the child. So you need to separate the doses. You're gonna if you choose to vaccinate your child, you're gonna see that. I witnessed that firsthand, so I know what that's all about. So when he kept lying and trying to disprove you, but another thing with I don't know, it was really frustrating yet again to see a fucking moron constantly try to get you in a got you moment, and I don't know, it was just really frustrating. And then he was trying to talk about how his wife was probably hotter. I just looked up his wife right now with the information the gentleman just gave me. She looks like a man. Like, I'm gonna be honest. She looks like
he was trying to talk about how hot his wife is. Let's put it out. Hold on. How do you look up his wife? I got to check it
Rachel
out.
Wilson. Just type that in, Rachel Wilson. And
Rachel Wilson.
Yeah.
What, Fox News?
No, just a occult feminism.
Occult feminism. She
Yeah,
does
I
have a thing connected to Fox News too.
I just typed that in, and I seen a whole bunch of images with the same female, so that has to be her. If she's not smiling, she looks like a man. Straight up.
Is this her?
Yes, sir. That's her.
Okay.
Look at the fourth picture in the middle. That looks like a straight up dude.
Yeah, pictures can be deceiving. But yeah, he was trying to talk about how good looking his wife is.
Yeah, I mean, an overweight, fat slob, hypertensive, borderline, like at least one pack away from a fucking transient ischemic attack, So it's just like it was so easy to attack him, but once I noticed that it was the same fucking panel over again, all right, dude, I'm not getting on. And they put a paywall behind it for the first fucking portion of no, I'm not doing that, bro. I'm not. No, I'm not giving money to that hoe. Fuck that shit. Again. I told you she was useless. She was useless yet again. You could see when at certain points when Andrew was like delivering like a punchline or a joke or whatever the fuck, she would laugh as if she was relaying the message. Hey, do something here. Like she's with them. She's with them like 100%. If you could tell that faggot Arab guy, the one that I'm not racist. I don't know what else to say. Arabic dude, whatever.
The guy who was Gematria Tomato last time.
Yeah, that guy. You could tell that he was rather using a voice changer or something. He came in with some fucking picture. Like I noticed, like I can hear voices and I can say like, okay, this guy sounds like this guy. Like I have a decent memory. But it seems like it was just the same people over and over again. I didn't see that stupid ass Scottish guy that was talking shit last time. I think he was Scottish. I don't know, but I don't know. It's just it's a waste of time trying to, because I sport bet. I use sports betting. Obviously, when I came across your stuff, I started sports betting. But just instead of just using your information, I paid attention to professional sports bettors. And I see what it is that they do, and they follow the data. What is it that you provide? You provide data. So you have to make your consciously, you have to make an assumption. Is it going to go over or under based off what the sports books are doing? So I go off what the sports book are doing. I go off what you say, and then I make my bet based off of that. So, how is it that you can't use anything at your disposal to be able to correctly predict something? Gematria is that. The sports books are that. You can compare. I mean, why were they not able to tie in something so?
It absolutely is that. Yesterday, I gave free information, and I talked about how strong 31's in with Detroit. Anybody who would have went and said, oh, look, there's a 31 on the board in the Detroit game. Let's see if what Zach says is true. Oh, boom, winner again yesterday. So, again, we've been proving our point in spades for over a decade. All of my haters and detractors are the ones that are actually the frauds and the liars. I never claimed anything that isn't true. Our history of futures and calls is unprecedented. And we've changed the game. I mean, we brought real knowledge to the table to show just how rigged it is. And again, it is a set of knowledge that you can absolutely use to take advantage of a rigged system. And it goes beyond sports.
Exactly. And I just hate the fact that they wanted you to predict something right now, like as if anybody other than that lady from Russia or wherever the hell she is from, the blind one, that was able to predict certain events. I don't remember her name, but nothing is perfect. There's no model is 100% accurate. I don't know if in history there is something that disproves what I'm saying, but nothing is accurate, especially without forecasting. People that forecast the weather, they actually have to pour in through data. They have to probe X amount of things to be able to tell what the weather's gonna look like. That's essentially what you do. You know, like you see what's going on, and based off that, you make your assumption. I had a whole bunch of your Gematria Effect News articles that you were posting ready to go, all lined up with The Rock. I was gonna get on and I was gonna say this, that, and the most, but then I started realizing like this motherfucker is not gonna let me fucking talk.
Right, there's
I
going to
better not hop
interrupt and
on before
ridicule and yeah, play it down. I mean, yeah, it's a panel of trolls. Green Kid, I appreciate it, man. I gotta let one more guy get in here, and I do got to get off, man. I am.
All right, man. Stop doing those debates, please.
Yeah,
they're not worth your time.
yeah, I agree.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Yeah, you too. What's up, Stillworks?
What's up, Zach? Man, don't ever do that shit again with them jackasses.
I won't.
That shit was hell last night. I'm sitting in the chat trying to show the organic side. I've called you before and we've argued about flat earths, but I'm not going there today. Man, I love you. I swear to God, I love you, even though we bump heads on the flat earth shit. That shit was treacherous, and you could tell that they weren't listening to actually comprehend. They were listening to respond. And you could tell your daughter is softening you up, because years ago, you would have tore the fur off them guys. You was just like, you kept pushing your point. And I agree with the guy that called earlier, said you should have stuck with A is one. You got to teach these people like they are retarded, because they're not trying to learn. They just want to, this guy's wrong. And I told you, look at him. That shit that hurt, Zach.
Yeah. Again, we did A as one with Jimbob, and he didn't seem to set him with him. We thought the strategy was to just hit 666 over and over, since again it's a Christian teaching. It's within the Christian realm of understanding, but
these people ain't Christians just because they claim they are.
Right,
Everybody say, "Oh my God," and God this and God that, but they don't believe. I don't believe in God because I know God. Finding your information showed me that God is real through the number, through my experiences, through how I see this world. People could tell you anything, but when you start seeing it and it's actually working in your life, I bought a house based off this information. I found my wife based off this information. My kids are in my numbers. My name is Brandon. It equals 32. High school football number 32. My wife's birthday is November the 3rd. My kids were born March the 3rd and July the 2nd. How, Sway? I grew up at 1202 such and such Parkway. Come on, man. Yeah. 32 has surrounded me. It's even in my driver license number on my passport. So I see the number. I understand.
Yeah, there's definitely an organic side, indeed, and that's got to be where the Kabbalistic belief comes through, that God's working through this, because you just see how it can occur in your own life if you're paying attention. So,
yep, but nobody's paying attention. We easily distracted by Drake, Trump, Obama. What's that chick named Carmella? All this shit is just a distraction, Zach.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, man, get some rest, man.
Well, it's gonna have to wait because I got things to do, but I appreciate it.
All
right, take care, man. All right, D26 is still sitting back there. D26, I got to get off, but if you have one more thing you wanted to say before I get out of here, I know you always got a lot on your mind. Go ahead.
It's all right. We can keep it on for the next time. I'll be calling you for something else. I had to discuss it privately. I would just give you the trailer for that. The topic of conversation is that there are some people, I've heard them, people that kind of point out that there are people like me in the community who don't argue with you, or we always never criticize you. To all those people, I would just say that I do criticize Zach, but I keep it I keep that clean behind the curtains, not always on the screen on the live streams. We have a lot of private conversations, and over there we discuss few things, and that's where I keep most of our criticisms about each other. So if anyone has anything, if people did not listen to what I said in the beginning when I came on the show and on this live stream, you all can watch that part again. I just want to bring up, because someone left a very big comment on my live stream, which I did with Rick and Dana about a month ago, probably in the start of this year. that's when someone had a big comment about you, something you did probably, I think, a couple of years ago with another guy in our community. If you don't mentioning his name,
Go ahead.
you remember Asif?
Yes, I remember Asif.
Someone said, now I will be very honest. He was the first one of the first people that I knew in the chats, in the live streams, back in 2022, and I didn't know about the all. I don't know most of the drama that goes on in this community, but someone did mention that you said something bad to him, all that stuff. So we'll keep that conversation for the private,
Well,
if you don't
that's not
mind.
true. No, this is what happened. There was a woman that was attacking him and saying he was being unfair as a mod on Free to Find Truth. And she wasn't the first person to complain, but I couldn't decide if these people who were picking on him were like some kind of agents and just trying to create a ripple for no reason. But I just said, okay, here, just to make everybody cool out, I'm just going to take his wrench. There'll be no mods. You guys will self-regulate. He got really upset about that. And he wrote this long, angry mail. And I said, listen, Asif, it's not that I don't trust you. It's just the way that I thought to resolve the situation temporarily. And when I gave him his wrench back, he didn't want it. And then he became a troll forever. So, I mean, it's just...
That's what happened. So I didn't know about the part that it was only about the wrench.
Yeah,
and all
no,
the
I never did
moderator
anything
stuff.
mean to him. It was just a way overreaction. I guess he felt like I took the opposition side, which really wasn't it. I was just trying to be the mediator and say like, okay, well, here's what I can do for now. Just see if everybody can cool out. But no, I mean,
This is what happens with people that, like, I would say that people are not matured with age, because I still remember this entire thing regarding the moderator stuff. Because even when you had the news website, you created me the mod, and I'm still the mod of that website, even though I don't use it much. I barely go there. I probably once a month or something. And even on this channel, which you made me a mod in the very beginning of 24 and 25 and 23 as well, even there I asked you, it's all right if you don't keep me as a moderator, because I won't be able to there present all the time. I had my exams at that time. So even when I returned after my exams, I saw that none of your channels have me as a mod. I don't have a range. I did not cry for that. Like, that's how most people do react, sadly, who are like double my age. But that's, as I said, it's just childish, if that's true.
Yeah.
Again, people do bring up this topic that it's you who is the reason of, like, there's division in the community because of you and all that. I want to mention all that. Now, keeping some things on the live stream, even though we do have a lot of things we do talk about in the private chat, in the private calls, but I just want to let this people, like, I want people, or all the haters, because apparently some of your haters are also now coming into my DMs and my emails. So just let you all know, yes, we do have criticisms, but we keep it clean, and we keep it off the off the stage, if you want to say it, call it that way. We don't go around I think crying on the live stream, or like bashing live streams. If Zach says something bad about me, I will not make a live stream about dissing him for the next 2 hours or something on my channel. That's not happening.
All right, you're a very mature person.
That's what people do. That's what I just wanted to address this, because that's what people kind of push others, and usually people will fall for this.
Yeah, you're way ahead of your time. I appreciate you.
Anyways, I will take a leave over here. I think you can you have a good day. And lastly, I'll just remind you: did you watch the links that I shared to you on WhatsApp? I think
I get a break today. If I don't pass out in that break, I will watch them then. I have not done it yet. I apologize.
No problem. You never have to apologize. It's all right.
Yeah, it's busy over here these days, and I spent way too much time on this. Sweet lady's gonna scold me, but yeah, appreciate it, everybody. Thank you again to everyone who supports the work. Thank you to everyone who sent us super chats. I did hear that Andrew Wilson deleted the debate from his channel. It's interesting. There's been a number of, it's just like no more news. I think the only video he ever deleted from his own channel was his interview with me, challenging his position on how he blames everything on a certain group of people. That's unfortunate, and it might be because he does have handlers, and they don't want the knowledge getting out there. I think that's. Why else would he delete it? Did he know that he took the L? Did he know that he took the L, or was he told to delete it? Why do you think he took down the video there, D26?
I did not see the entire stream of where he wasn't live, but I did see the part which you mentioned, which you showed before you went on the stream for the first time, and you showed the part where he said on his own channel, like a preview before, like an announcement thing of this debate, where he clearly said that I'm not interested in this debate, but I'm just doing it because it's been already like said, and that's what he said. That those were his words. So he had a prejudice. He was already in the mindset that I'm not going to learn anything. I'm not going to even attempt to even listen to anything. He had that mindset. So after that, he must have realized that you must have said few things that must have like harmed that channel and that debate and his image, because he has a particular image on the YouTube, I think, platform. I don't know much about him personally, and I haven't followed him, but I just went through few things, and I see that there's like what should I say? It's like a theme. That's what we see. Like there's an image, there's a repetition of someone of this thing like that. You won't expect Mike Tyson to play chess like out of nowhere. I'm just like giving random stuff.
Yeah.
There's an image of someone like that. You won't expect Michael Jackson in the gym like that. I'm using random examples.
Yeah. All right.
So, yeah,
I appreciate it again, D26. Hope you get some rest today and have a good rest of your day.
Oh yeah, it depends on my laptop. Anyways, I'm rendering, if anyone knows what that is. Rendering is basically exporting. I have to wait until the entire render is complete. It's about 30-40 minutes, will still go on. Anyways, thank you for having me. Thank you for listening. And again, my last thoughts will always be like, stay calm. I would say don't waste your energy on these people. I've said this before, and you also said you have had your own reasons that if you don't try, it's never worth it. So I understand your point as well. But in this particular, if things are this bad, like the people on the panel are this bad, it's better not to continue.
Yeah, I agree. All right, friend. Always good advice.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Have a good
you.
day.
All right, take care. This thing I'm going to look into too. That flow state guy doesn't make any sense to me. He just sits on YouTube. I say he sits on YouTube all day, goes to panels, trolls, just disinformation all day. And he was bragging last night that he made way more in super chats than I did. And I thought, yeah, that's interesting. He's not even like one of the main things. He's just streaming this on his channel, just trolling. Again, when I talk about 201 and the Jesuit motto, both into one at Georgetown, the kind of feedback he had all night is like, oh, yeah, that's like 2 balls and 1 dick. It's like, but this is what's getting fed money? I'm telling you guys, there's a lot of paid for disinformation on the tube. And again, there's a big black budget for the military and the government, and controlling information is something governments are very into, and but trolling and harassment is seemingly clearly part of the tactics. I'm dealing with a lot of weird stuff ever since I started speaking out about this. But yeah, that is disappointing that Andrew Wilson deleted the video from his channel. You know, he's the guy that gets all the views. Did he decide that he lost, or was he told to take it down because, again, for the obvious reasons? Same reason we're in algorithm hell and have lost 20-some channels. I want this information out there. Oops, I just did something. What did I just do? I'm not even going to know how to get out of this thing. Hold on. Shoot. I hit the wrong button. Anyway, I'm out of here, True Seeker. Have a good rest of your day. Until next time.